Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All good things come to an end, unfortunately. Welcome in, everybody, but the beauty is we are just beginning. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. Let me start with this, guys. Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network tweeted out about 3 minutes ago that Dallas Goedert will miss extended time with a shoulder injury suffered in the game against the Commanders last night. Sources tell him and Tom Pelissero, also the NFL Network, not a season ender. The injury added to insult on the play. It was the play in which he was face masked and was not called, but he will miss extended time, likely headed to the IR. So that is not good news after what was a rough night last night. But anyway, good to see you guys. How we doing? What's up, Barrett? What's up, Derek?
Still a little pissed off. I'm mad. I'm mad as hell. I'm still mad. I'm hot right now.
Why
should be?
Why did Sanjay make you sleep in your car?
No, what it was, I should have made them sleep in their car. I mean, this team played absolutely horrendous. There was no question that they were not prepared, not necessarily as far as game plan. It was more so because they just couldn't match the effort, couldn't max and play above the Washington Commanders. They got beat up front. They got outmatched up front.
Yeah, they got outplayed and they got outcoached. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Yeah, you had a team, the game plan on the defensive side of the ball, the offensive side of the ball, the continued struggles on special teams, all, bit them. And let's not let the players off the hook. You got owned in the trenches. You got your lunch taken to you.
They got their butt kicked.
Yeah, so this was a collective deserved loss. And
why are you guys surprised? I mean, seriously, why are you surprised?
I'm surprised because it shouldn't have happened. That's why I'm surprised.
Okay, all right, but like I said, if you look across the league, how many games have we put under the category of wow, I didn't see this coming, and the Eagles finally got bit.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the sense that I've said repeatedly they're not going 17-0, but the way that they've gotten beat, and the problem is we're starting to see a trend here, which will be carried over as we go forward. That keep away. Number one, keep the ball out of the Eagles' hands and hammer them in the run game. And you saw it, and it's crazy because the team only averaged 3 yards per carry, but it doesn't matter when the time of possession is as skewed as it is. You can't let your offense do anything.
6 minutes, 11 seconds in the entire first half.
Yes.
6 minutes, 11. You know what that means?
The Washington.
That means the reason why the Eagles had so much success on the defensive side of the ball is if you get up on the Eagles and the Eagles don't run the ball, that means you can continue to run the ball because they can't stop the run, which means you can dominate the team by just keeping their offense off the field. They just couldn't get right on the offensive side of the ball because they didn't. I mean, they drove the ball consistently, but they just didn't have enough opportunities because the defense just couldn't. They couldn't stop them.
Yeah, no, they couldn't. They couldn't get off the field. Third down conversions were absurd last night. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was a record.
This team is built to do two things: get up on teams early offensively, and be opportunistic on defense. And there are great areas in between those two things. okay? And we've been seeing this coming. We've been talking about the run defense. I've been talking about how the four-man front is not good enough. Fletcher Cox, I don't know what he's doing half the time. And not just Fletcher Cox, but you start.
No, he's a big part of this.
I don't know what the heck, And we were applauding Javon Hargrave for having 5 QB sacks over a span of 2 games. And I said it was because they played 2 inferior offensive lines back to back. And then I'm sitting there watching the game with a bunch of people last night. I'm watching Washington pound away at the line of scrimmage. And I said, I got it, because it reminds me of Green Bay's offensive line. That offensive line is built to run block better than it is to pass block. And that's exactly what they did. And then I don't know if it was Joe Buck or Troy Aikman who said, I think it was Buck who said, the Washington's had so many different line combinations because of injuries. It has affected continuity and chemistry. He said tonight, this is the 3rd consecutive game where the same 5 guys have lined up together. And if you look at their last 2 games leading up to this game, you saw a much more fluid offensive line in terms of the run blocking, because all I saw was visiting jerseys going this way and home jerseys going this way. And even though it was only 3 yards, 4 yards, Washington's longest run in the game was 11 yards. But the bottom line is, before halftime, your defense had their hands on their knees gasping for air because they couldn't get off the field.
Yeah, they couldn't get off the field, and go ahead, Barrett.
They just stayed on time. I got into one of my, on my post-game show, and I turned around. I'm like, yo, they only averaged 3 yards a carry.
Right.
But they ran the ball 49 times.
Yes.
And when you average the 3 yards a carry, I'm just saying it from not in a literal sense, but, first down, you run it 3 yards. Second down, you get 3 yards. Now you're third and manageable. It's third and 4. Mm-hmm. You keep everything on time. And then you pair that with the fact that they were able to convert 12 for third down conversions.
12 of 15 to start. 12 of 15 to start. It ended up being 12 of 21. 10 of those were via runs. 10 of those are on the ground, by the way.
So when you do that, you control it.
Yep.
Yes, 9 of 12. You just controlled the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what happened. They got out-muscled up front, offensively and defensively.
They did.
In the second half, we started to get a rhythm and running the rock, and then we started back passing again. Passing, they can do it. But you do that to the detriment of what you do best. You are a run-blocking offensive line. You're a run-blocking team.
I just don't understand. How does Miles Sanders get 1 carry in the first half?
I don't get that.
I know you don't have the ball a lot, but give me a break. I have nothing against Boston Scott or Kenny Gainwell, but what are you mixing them in for in the first half? Run Miles Sanders.
How does Boston Scott get the first carry of the game?
He didn't have to take a shower.
Yeah,
he didn't have to take a shower yesterday.
It was like you had 11 days to prepare for that. 11 days. And you came out with that game plan on both sides of the ball. How about special teams?
Oh, my goodness.
You get a roughing with 2 guys, basically. Blankenship got the flag, but it was both guys, right? Then whatever the heck that was with they almost got Sippos. I think he makes a great play to avoid getting got.
Absolutely.
Punts it, but there's still flags. You got to kick it again. Like, what is happening here? Like, that was collectively awful. They looked like they were just on an island for 11 days. They were unprepared. We haven't said that all year.
I'm glad you brought up special teams, because as I sit here right now, I firmly believe Kobe has to be replaced.
Yep.
I don't even think he's an NFL player, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm sitting there joking during the course of the game. Every time there was a punt or a kickoff, I'm screaming, and to the point I'm out on the concourse, and people are laughing. I said, "Don't do it, Kobe. Don't do it. Let it go. Don't do it." That one kickoff return. First of all,
I don't know how the guy's walking. I don't know how he's upright.
Nobody blocked. That one kickoff he had, by the time he got to the 15-yard line, there were 5 white jerseys standing there waiting for him.
Pop.
Who's blocking?
It's, you know what it is? It's a bad combination of he's not the guy and they don't block for him. Yes, that's a bad combination.
They don't block on punt. They don't block on kickoff. No. What are they doing? What are they
that dude must be in traction the next day after a game.
Bro, my goodness.
We talk about, I've been screaming it for the longest time. Can I get a Michael Clay sighting?
Yep.
I said it so much that they even have a drop on 94.1 on WIP. Can I get a Michael Clay sighting? That's how much I've said it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro, at this point, I just don't understand what's going on. What is going on? I mean, nobody's blocking. Nobody's doing anything.
They don't know what they're doing, Barrett. They like, honestly, it's schematic stuff where they don't even know. A part of this is you need to have special teams players on your roster. Like, they don't have many. They have Sean Bradley, a few others, but most of it is like the Kobe Dean trying to figure out how to play special teams out there. But it's also just that they're not good. They're not well coached. They're not.
Yes.
They're not.
They don't block at all, bro.
No,
they don't block at all.
This was highly Gunnar. You asked me, I'm disappointed because I think they are the better team. Now, I know the better team doesn't win every week, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to call them out for it when they lay an egg like this. Like, I'll give you an example. Fletcher Cox is making $14 million a year. Okay, great stat from Brandon Lee Gouton, who we had on the show. Was that last week? Earlier this week? I can't even remember. It all runs together. Last week. Okay, from Bleeding Green. Last 6 games. Fletcher, 289 snaps, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 2 quarterback hits. He grades out 45th of 66 defensive tackles on PFF, and he's making $14 million a year. Come on, man.
Not surprised.
Bro, I watched the tight ends kick his ass yesterday.
Yeah.
No, D-Gun, you can't laugh at this, man.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
D-Gun, it was it started out a double team. But all the tackle did was just post him up like this, and then he went inside. The tight end drove him off the ball.
Yes.
8 yards down the field. A tight end, D-Gun.
I know, man.
It wasn't even a tackle. It was a tight end.
D-Gun. Wrong again, D-Gun. I wish I could say that.
And Barrett, explain this to me. Why is Fletcher – there's some plays – have you noticed the last couple of games, especially in the run defense, he turns his back towards the blocker?
Yes.
I'm looking at – I thought I was seeing things.
You want my theory? Want my theory?
You don't want to get hurt?
Well, he doesn't want to get hurt. You're right. They're business decisions. But I think the other part is he still hates this defense, but he wasn't getting $14 million anywhere else. So he's back. Okay. He wasn't. Now, the other thing is, let's not let the defensive ends off the hook. So I know Sweat got one last night, and that was huge. I'm not discounting that. But first 4 games, 9 sacks. Last 5 games, 3 sacks from your edge guys. So this is collectively across this defensive line. It's like Hargrave's really good against the pass. He's not good against the run. Fletcher Cox is a ghost of what he used to be, and your edge guys aren't getting it done.
I hate to say it, but my boy Brandon Graham, same way. I believe Fletcher Cox. I'm not going to say Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham are done, because I don't think they're done. They're situational players now at this stage of their career, and that's what Brandon is. He's a situational player. Situation, maybe third down. I don't know. Matchup, I don't know. Fletcher, same way. I don't know. $14 million. You got to play Fletcher because you're paying the $14 million.
Right? I saw him get pressure once. I saw him get a sack. They one-on-one blocked Fletcher, and Fletcher could not beat the one-on-one block. Now the defensive ends got there. The other 3 players got there to the quarterback and hit him and sacked Taylor Henneke. But Fletcher was one-on-one and couldn't beat him. He could not beat the guard. What's about Trey? What's his name? Trey something?
Yeah.
His name
Turner? Trey Turner, former Steeler. They got him up out of there.
I don't know. It's Trey. I don't think Trey Turner the shortstop, but I don't know. Does it really matter at this point?
Bro, it was one-on-one. He one-on-one blocked. And it wasn't like somebody chipped him or put a hand out on him. Yeah. It was a flat one-on-one block, me against you, mano y mano, uno versus uno, and he didn't even let him off the line of scrimmage.
No, it was, again, this thing, the one thing we always kept crediting the Eagles with was, hey, they show up every week. Most teams don't in this league. They didn't show up last night. It's okay. I mean, we could say it. I'm not panicked. I think they are really good, and I think they will make adjustments where they're not going to get gashed every week on the ground.
Will. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they will.
Still.
But it doesn't mean day after we're not going to, call them on the carpet for what this looked like. This was not good enough, man. And the game plan stunk from the coaches, and the players didn't execute either. So I will give the Eagles this to a man, and this started from Sirianni to every player. There were no referee excuses made. Every single one of them owned it and said, we didn't get, don't blame the refs. This is us.
Right.
So I'll give them that. Right. That gives me encouragement that they realize that there's some things that need to be fixed.
The best line that I heard or saw, I should say, while I'm driving home from Ocean City this morning, I'm scrolling through Twitter, and somebody said, Jonathan defense is the equivalent of a COVID defense. They're playing 10 feet apart.
Dog, and my boy Slade.
Oh, he got jobbed last night.
Rough for Slay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, McLaurin went to town, man. McLaurin
what he wanted to do, man.
Did you see at one point CJ Gardner-Johnson, he was covering him, and he caught probably like a 15-yard out route on the sideline. He said, don't put no safeties on me, man. He screamed that they caught the mic, the sideline mic caught it.
Yes.
Yeah, he was wide open way too many times. Yeah, this was not Slay's finest performance. We're not used to seeing this. This looked like old school Eagles defensive backs getting beat.
Every dog has its day, and the dog finally bit the Eagles. Everybody's been bitten across the league. And the dog finally bit the Eagles. And like I said, the one thing the Eagles did that nobody else was able to do up to this point was overcome adversity. It wasn't like the Eagles were playing perfect games. They just jumped out on opponents and made opponents come out of their game plan to try to play catch up. And once they got close, the Eagles put it in second gear and took off from them.
Yeah.
They couldn't do it this time. And I'm telling you right now, it all started with that Houston game. The difference between Houston and this game was Houston didn't have the players to finish the job. Washington had 3 great receivers, a quarterback who's not great but efficient, and he found his open targets. And I'm sitting here going, you have 2 – we just talked a couple of weeks ago about both Darius Slay and James Bradbury were number 1 and number 2 in terms of percentage, quarterback completion percentage against them. They were both under like 37%. And I'm sitting there going, you got 2 of the best corners in the game. And I'm screaming, why are they not coming up pressing these dudes? Mm-hmm. They don't play press coverage. Every other game I watch across the National Football League, at some point, your corners come up to play bump and run. These dudes don't. And then when they do, before the snap, they back out 8 yards. I don't get this.
He doesn't want to get big plays. I hear you,
man.
I hear you. He doesn't want to get. And look, I mean, I'll go to it. They had allowed 16.9 points per game leading up to the game. It's worked, and that's from that extent. But it is frustrating to watch, and it didn't work last night. It did not work last night, and that's the other frustrating thing. Make adjustments in game. And they didn't do it. You know, they had gotten away with the run defense because they're up on everybody, and teams have to abandon the run. You know, for the most part in the second half because they got to throw to get back.
Right.
And it wasn't that wasn't the case last night. They didn't have to throw to get back. Washington was either leading or it was really close or whatever. So you could just keep pounding. You know, Robinson was not, out there looking like Walter Payton reincarnated, but he was doing what he had to do. And it was just eating clock, man. I've never seen that kind of disparity. Honestly, God. No, I mean, the amount of plays, just the total play thing was nuts.
That was bad. That was
6 minutes. 6 minutes
in an entire half, Barrett. It's crazy.
That's how you beat the Eagles. You know, if you can keep that offense off the field,
exactly,
you can win. You know, you can run the ball on. Bro, we are going to get smashed in the run the next 7 weeks.
What?
Yeah,
what?
So here's the opponents, and it's easy to run through and look at. So it's Jonathan Taylor, who went off last week against the Raiders. He's back and he's healthy. It's going to be Aaron Jones and Dylan. It's going to be Derrick Henry. It's going to be Saquon. It's going to be probably the best rushing attack in total in the NFL in Chicago. That includes Justin Fields and Herbert and Montgomery. It's going to be Pollard and Zeke.
Yep.
You know, Kamara. I don't know what New Orleans is going to look like at that point. But then it's going to be Barkley again. But that's the rest of the schedule. Every one of those teams has a formidable running attack.
And people are like, you got to do this, you got to do that. Bottom line, you can't change the personnel. It's too late in the season to change personnel. You're going to have to fix what you have. When a team comes out and tells you what they're going to do, we don't coach. We're not behind closed doors. Leading up to this game, we talked about Washington is going to try to establish the run. How does that coaching staff not realize that or make an adjustment at halftime? Okay, you concede defeat in the first 30 minutes. They basically freight trained you in the first 30 minutes. You have 12 minutes to make adjustments in the second half. You make adjustments. Where's the linebackers coming up filling the gap? Barrett, even when they tried to pinch Fletcher Cox and Hargrave over the center in the gaps, they still couldn't stop the run.
Nope.
Still could not stop the run. So you're going to play a better offensive line than Indianapolis's offensive line. You're going to play a Green Bay offensive line that's built for run because they ran over Dallas for 200 yards. They ran over a good Buffalo defense for 183 yards. What are they going to come here and do? Run the ball.
Run the ball.
What's
Saquon and you saw that Green Bay, they beat the Bills by just running the rock.
Running the ball. They couldn't finish it. But how did they beat Dallas? They ran the ball and they set up the play action. All of a sudden, their kid, Christian Watson, we've been talking about forever, he finds a way to hold on to the football.
Bro, they could have beat the Bills, man, if they just – if they consistently kept running the rock. They beat them up front, man.
Yes.
And this Eagles team is definitely ripe again next week to have the same thing happen.
On a short week, and now your number one tight end is gone.
Yep.
Okay. And who else got injured in the game? I'm still waiting to hear what's AJ's situation, because once he planted his foot on that out, on the replay, you saw he limped before the ball got to him.
Yep.
He was not the same receiver.
He had one catch. That was his only catch.
That's it.
Yeah. Look, here's what I'm really curious about. This is the first time all year that they've had adversity, like real adversity. That Detroit game was kind of crazy, but this is real adversity after a loss. And there's an issue, a couple of issues that are really glaring at this point. We're going to really find out what they're made of now. I kind of like it, actually. I like that we're going to find out what they're all about after this went down.
I'm glad you just said that. You said there are issues that are glaring. Give me your top 3 issues that are glaring.
All right. Number 1, run defense, hands down. That's the biggest issue that I would say with them.
Yep.
Number 2, they're not getting enough sacks from their edge guys.
Nope. Yep. I agree.
Number 3, special teams. Yeah, I would go 2 on defense, 1 on special teams. I think the offense is going to be fine. I think it should. I don't think they were on the field. I don't think when they were on the field, the plays were called particularly well.
But see, the things you just said, glaring, they've been the same problems all season.
Yep.
It's just that in a loss, it's more magnified now.
Yep.
And but I've been screaming for weeks, the 4-man front is not good enough to do the job, to get home. For the money you have from end to end, it's not good enough. 4-man. Last night, your defensive coordinator blitzed a grand total of 6 times. 6 times. They didn't even come up and run blitz.
Yeah, run. It was screaming for run blitz early.
Nothing.
What I say we needed to do. I said, that was one of my breakdowns, one of my game plans. Hey, we appreciate that, Shizzo. We appreciate that.
Yeah, you did say that yesterday.
Well, we need to run blitz. You got to run blitz. You got to use Kazir White. You got to use TJ Edwards to stop the run, because you're not getting any penetration up front.
No.
Penetration is what kills run plays, and they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
They didn't. And I wonder, again, this is where I don't know how you go into the game with that plan, but then I don't know how, as the game goes on and you see exactly what they're trying to do to you, I would rather just take a chance. And if you get gashed on a big run play, so be it. It's like, would you rather them score quickly or do this bleed you to death thing? Like, just take a chance. I would
from 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, 1,000 cuts. And the other thing that we haven't seen all year, now 2 of these you can kind of throw out the window. They had 4 turnovers. One was that last play, which was, garbage. The other one was a blatant miscall, which also has resulted now in the starting tight end being out for a significant period of time. So I'll excuse that one. The other 2, look, Hurts, you could say it was A.J. Brown's fault, whatever. You're throwing into double coverage. It's dicey. Okay. And he got away with it in the Pittsburgh game. But the other one is, Quez Watkins, he's trying to make a play. It's unfortunate. He gets stripped. But you lose the turnover battle. You can't stop them on with your run defense, and you can't get on the field offensively. It's going to make for a long night.
Yes,
frankly, it's surprising it was that quick.
JT says, excuse me, JT says, why are we ignoring the passing problems from Hurts? I don't think Hurts had a great game, but I don't think he had that bad of a game.
I thought he was average, honestly.
Okay. I thought he put that deep ball he threw, he shouldn't have thrown it into coverage, but he's done it before and it worked to his favor.
Yeah, AJ's got
deep ball he threw, and I'm thinking, okay, that was a great pick-off by a guy named Derek Forrest, by the way. Derek, that's another story. All right, but that was a great pick. But then you see the slow-mo replay. AJ had it in his hands and bounced out of his hand, and dude snatched it out of the air. And I'm thinking, but it was one of those games. It was bound to happen. Quez gets stripped. Fumble, face mask is not seen. It was one of those games. A team just bulldozing. I still can't get over the fact that of all the, okay, if you see a team like Kansas City Buffalo ran 51 offensive plays. This is Washington. Washington ran 51 offensive plays on your defense in the first half.
Yeah.
Washington.
They got their comeuppance this week. You know, the only thing I would say is there's a lot of like fire Gannon, oh my God, panic time. The only thing I would say to that is, you know, the Chiefs lost to the Colts.
Yeah.
Okay. Chiefs lost to the Colts.
Straight.
Good teams lose to lesser teams every single week during the regular season.
Every week.
It's how you respond to that loss. Like, and we're going to find out a lot about them this week against the Colts.
On a short week,
which I actually think is probably better. Like, you
want to get the stank out your mouth.
Yeah, and you've had too much time to think about these games to begin with all the.
They got to go brush their teeth.
Yeah, brush your teeth and move. Floss a little bit and get going, man.
Well, you know, and plus the advantage they've had that a lot of teams have not had is they have been relatively healthy up at first 10 weeks of the season. You look at teams, prominent players dropping like flies. This team has been healthy.
Yeah.
Now the little are catching up. Your tight end, arguably one of the top 4 tight ends in the game, is out indefinitely. There's no timetable on this thing. Yes, indefinitely, which is not good.
Yep.
You don't know exactly how your number 1 receiver is right now because he limped through the rest of that game. He favored that ankle the rest of the game. And we had this guy on our show after the game called Dr. Bruce. And I said, what do you look for in something like that, especially when a player continues to play through a game because you've got that adrenaline rush and you don't feel the pain and stuff? He said, well, after the game, once the body has had time to relax, you start looking for swelling and you start looking to see if there's any tendon issues. So, I mean, these are things you look for. It's amazing. You know, Barrett, you played the game for 12 years as a pro. I've covered the game for over 4 decades. And the one thing that's always impressed me about the human body playing in a pro football game is you can be injured, but because you have that adrenaline rush, it can get you through the game. And then all of a sudden, when your body relaxes and the muscles start to relax, all of a sudden the player's out 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know.
Yeah, he's in the training room right now. He's definitely in the training room right now. It's not come back on Wednesday because they played today.
Right.
They've got to do something today. And, you know, a lot of those guys are going to be in there. And you know, I now see how much of a factor Avonte Maddox and Davis made on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We see their effect.
It's true. I mean, Avonte was a big loss for sure. You saw that, you know, McLaurin worked out of the slot a lot last night. And
he worked out too. He worked out. Ooh, he
worked out. He did. And
let me ask both of you guys this.
Yep.
Do you honestly think Avonte Maddox could have stopped Terry McLaurin last night?
Stop? No. Contained him a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have stopped him.
I don't know.
No, but look, McLaurin does that to everybody every week.
On a little flag route.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. Like on the little flag route that he beat C.J. Garner-Johnson on.
Right.
I believe Avonte Maddox would have played better on that play. He defended it better.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah.
CJ, I mean, talking about an opportunistic guy.
Yeah.
It's a lot of picks, man.
Yeah, he does.
He's gonna get paid next year for somebody. He's leading NFL in picks right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's gonna get paid, bro.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, for sure. All right, look, a lot to digest here. They lose Goddard, and we don't know how long. It's not for the season, according to the NFL Network report. Mike Garafolo and Tom Pelissaro both reporting shoulder injury, and you know I got to tell you, it does piss you off that it happened on that play where they don't get the face mask call.
Yeah,
and I'm not blaming they lost the game. I'm not blaming the refs. I'm just telling you that just makes it that much worse.
How do you miss that? The back judge is right there. How did he miss that?
And then after the game, the freaking pool referee says, well, we weren't looking for the face mask. We were looking to see if he was down. But guess what, dude? That's part of your job to be looking for the freaking face mask. Give me a break.
And that's part of the reason why he gave up the ball.
Right.
Face down.
And by the way, let me just say, I by letter of the law, the Brandon Graham play was called correctly.
Yes,
I have zero issue with that.
None whatsoever. Yes. And Brandon admitted it after the game.
Yep. But I'm looking at you know, Dan just texted me. He said Rivera knew how to defend the Eagles the second time through.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought that up because did you see how the corners came up to challenge receivers on balls?
Yep.
They didn't do that the first game.
Yep.
They were coming up challenging and defending passes a lot better. That kid they have, that tall, lanky corner, Juice. What's his name? St. Juice. He's going to be a heck of a player, dude. That kid can flat out play.
Yeah, look, they Rivera and Scott Turner and everybody else, whoever you name, every coordinator, they outcoached the Eagles. They outcoached the Eagles, and Sirianni got outcoached, and his coordinators got outcoached, and they deserve the loss. The Eagles earned every bit of that loss. They did. All right, we'll talk about it. So we'll go heavy into the defense when we get back and some of the mind-boggling stats from that aspect. Then we'll get into the offense. We have Bo Wolf from The Athletic is going to join us at 1:30, and then we will dive into some NFL stuff. There's some really impactful injury stuff going on around the league, which we'll get into at 2 o'clock as well. But it is wall-to-wall Eagles today, all right? And you want to react, give us some of your best comments in the chat section, and we will react to it. And in turn, let's hit that like button. We have been a little shy on the like button. Let's hammer it today if we can. All right, we come back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Continue with the Eagles discussion. All right, let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because finding the right person to entrust with your hard-earned money can be difficult. I found the right person, and I'd like for you to find the right person as well. And that is Jim Murray from Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you have a small business trying to set up your employee benefits, or something that you're just not sure about, he's a great resource to just reach out to. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover to Jim. I couldn't be any happier. You will be as well. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can email him as well, Murray, murray.jim@principal.com. That's murray.jim@principal.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
Weird feeling. First time all season We are on after an Eagles loss, man, and it lasted until November 15th. So,
bro, I'm
yeah,
I'm in my feelings right now.
Let me give you a funny story. So Barrett finishes up his post-game responsibilities last night for NBC Sports Philadelphia. I'm still on WIP last night. Derek, of course, killed it on JAKIB Sports post-game and pre-game and halftime and everything that he did last night. But I get a call as I'm in a break. I'm like, is Barrett calling for? He is on fire. He is so angry. I'm like, I love it, man. This guy's calling me at 1:30 in the morning, and he is pissed off to the highest heavens. Dude, I can't believe this. Come on, bro. Like, he's going nuts. And I'm just letting him rant. I'm like, all right,
I got to get back on now.
Coming back to break, but it was awesome. It just shows how passionate you are. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm pissed off right now. Like, I really don't even want to talk to you guys right now. I want to sit back and sulk right now and just be pissed off. You know, I couldn't really sleep. Like yesterday, I had a day of all days, man. I was on WIP from 6 to 10.
Right.
Did our show from 12 to 3. Did my show from 6 to 6:30. Then I did a pregame show from 7 to 8:15. Then I turned around. I did the postgame show after the game for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I'm driving home and listening to Rob, and I'm like, I had to talk to my boy, man. I know I couldn't call Gunner because Gunner was on, but I knew you were going into a break. So I said, you know what? Let me call you. I got to let some stuff out, you know. So
it's
I called you.
I appreciate it.
I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning because I'm used to being up. I'm like, I still didn't get any sleep. So I went to bed like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and still up at daggone 4 hours later at 7 o'clock. And I'm still pissed off. I'm like mad. I'm hot as fish grease right now. I want to really fight. Like I woke up this morning. I want to go down and work out. Yeah. I wanted to go downstairs and work out, but I ended up having to do. I started doing my board for my college football game this weekend. Right. So I'm doing my board, you know, and I'm just sitting back. I'm trying to concentrate. Yeah, I was trying to concentrate on. You know, I got West Virginia, Kansas State, and West Virginia, and I'm watching a little film on them. And I didn't even watch the Eagles film. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even watch the Eagles film yet. I'm like, you know, I can't watch that right now.
Yeah,
so
I'm with like you. I need a little time, like
me too,
before I really dig back into that bad boy. I'll do it when we finish today, but I need a minute. You know, I'm usually the next morning looking at it before we come on, but I need.
I like really want to fight somebody right now.
That game was out of my system when I went to bed because I said this: better now than in a playoff game getting embarrassed like that. Better now.
Sure. Yeah.
Get it out of your system. Now the offense will bounce back. But the huge question mark, will the defense be able to bounce back because of the opponents they're facing? And they're not facing a bunch of elite quarterbacks, but they're facing a bunch of elite running games. So will this defense bounce back? Because if they don't, you're going to have several more instances like we saw last night.
Yeah,
control the clock, 100+ yards rushing.
Yeah. Well, it's been 3 straight games they've given up $140 or more on the ground. The question is, and I said to you guys earlier, I'm pretty confident they will do some things to fix some of the issues. I don't know if you'll completely correct everything, but you know, is this kind of what it is? Is it fixable? Do they have the personnel to fix it? Should they sign somebody who's on the street? You know, I don't know.
What? It's about on what aspect?
People talking about signing Ndamukong Suh. There's a reason he's sitting at home.
Maybe.
Really? What did I tell you guys? And see, you guys remember when everybody was elated when they signed Robert Quinn, and I told you guys, my buddy who works for the Bears said the mindset of the people making the decisions upstairs was they felt Robert Quinn had seen his better days. What has Robert Quinn given you since he's been here?
Very little. He made a play last night when the Washington linebacker tight end whiffed on him.
He said he made a play. He made a play, D-Gun, dang it.
Yeah. Well, look,
yes.
I think here's the thing, too. You can sit there and talk about making corrections when you survive games like you did against Houston. But when you lose, it smacks you in the face a bit different.
Yeah,
it was a gut blow.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what last night serves as, a wake-up call. And I don't think they sat there for 11 days reading their press clippings like I'm the greatest. But there was an edge that was missing last night. And there's also
You saw that, yeah. Washington had that edge.
They did. Look, Washington celebrated like they won 15 Super Bowls after that. I think they're still celebrating.
But you know what, though? But you know what, though? I can understand why. When you consider that to spend more time trying to deflect what came out last Thursday about the district attorney in D.C. going after the team, the league, they've had to spend more time trying to shield themselves from what's going on from ownership than they have been focusing on playing a game of football.
Yeah.
And I said last Friday, I said this game coming up could go one or two ways, because players were ticked off about them using Brian Robinson in that statement, as we talked about. The players could say, you know what, screw this, we're done with this. We playing for ourselves. Or it could rally them. And sure enough, they closed the door, circled the wagons, and they came out. And on paper, they're not even close to being as talented overall as the Eagles. Now, we'll say this. When it comes to their collection of receivers, there's some doggone good receivers over there.
They're good. But it just goes to prove, I don't care who it is in the NFL, you take them lightly, there's a chance you're going to lose. You can't just show up in this league. And I don't know, they felt like they could just show up if whatever they planned for 11 days just wasn't it. I don't know. But you lost to a lesser quarterback, you lost to a lesser offensive line. You lost to a lesser secondary. You lost to a team that you shouldn't lose to at home. And again, we can look back at this game and say that was the wake-up call, man. Like that was the one that kind of got them, redirected in the right way. But there was a lot to it. So let's hit a couple of these. Let's start with this one. Total plays last night, 81-47. 81-47. I mean, that's remarkable. Offensive plays, okay? In the first half, 51-19, Washington, 51-19. The time of possession, as we talked about, 23-49 for Washington in the first half, 6-11. That's a 30-minute half, and you had the ball for 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Think about that for a minute. Okay?
Right, and that's what I said, man, earlier on. That's 6 minutes, 11 seconds, bro.
So Washington converts 12 of 21, which was 12 of 15 at one point.
Yep.
10 of them were in the run game. Not like you were doing something exotic. It was basically like hand it off and we're just going to pound it. So they do that. They only so Washington ran it 49 times. I mean, that is old school rushing attempt.
That's John Riggins football right there.
It is John. It's the Hogs and John Riggins. But they only averaged 3 yards per carry. First half, you knew what this was. They ran it on you 29 times in the first half. There was no secret to what they were doing.
None whatsoever.
For 100 yards.
You know exactly what was going down, and they made them like it. They beat them up front. They straight beat them up front.
Now, I will say this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barrett.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I don't want to. Go ahead and finish.
When you get totally dominated, like I said, I saw a tight end block Fletcher Cox like 8 yards down the field. I couldn't believe it was happening. And I got mad because it's like, and he turned his back to him and let him just drive him.
Yep.
And then Brian, Robinson just ran right behind the block. I'm like, what is going? Did I just see that? What just happened? And then I started getting mad at people in the office because they were talking about Fletcher Cox. They were talking bad about him. I'm like, stop talking bad about Fletcher Cox. Stop it. And I can't, and I'm looking at the play, I'm like, man, I don't want to talk bad about him. I don't want to do it, but I had to talk bad about him.
Well, I mean, look, we're going to praise when praise is worthy, and we're going to be critical when it's there. It's been praised for the most part for 8 weeks, rightfully so. They still have the best record in football because they beat Minnesota head to head. They have the best record in football. So let's not lose sight of that. But we're also going to get on coaches, players, etc. Like, look, I've been defending Jonathan Gannon. I thought his game plan sucked last night. Okay, I call it like it is. I don't care who it is, what the circumstances.
How's that Ganwagon right now?
It's in at the station right now for some.
It
service.
is.
It's got a blown wooden wheel.
So it's not rolling down the tracks like it was a few weeks ago.
I think right now it's going to stay in the shop for maybe a week.
The wheel is cracked.
What did I tell you last week? after the Houston game, you can take my seat and give it to whoever you want to. I'm done with that. with that.
But Derek, here's the problem though. Because I've heard a ton of this. I got it last night and I've heard it all day today. And I don't mean you, but it's like Fire Gannon.
No.
Okay, we're firing the guy.
Right.
They were fourth in the league in points allowed. They have taken the ball away more than any defense, and we're going to fire the guy at 8-1.
No.
So let's just. I get it. I get the frustration, but can we just get a little reality check here?
Thank you. I agree with you. You're not firing the defensive coordinator when you look at his overall stats this season.
Right.
As I've said consistently, and this is even back when they were running up consecutive wins. I don't like your scheme.
Yeah.
I just don't like his scheme. You have a collection, and Barrett has said it time and time again, and I've agreed with him to a certain degree. You have an umbrella of some of the best talent on the back end of your defense, and you're playing up in the concession stands. You know, my motto is keep everything in front of you.
Right.
Well, eventually, as your season goes along, you don't think coordinators are going to figure out we can kill this team underneath all day?
Yeah.
What did Scott Turner do when they did throw the ball? You got Terry McLaurin running wide open in the middle of the field. Curtis Samuels in the middle of the field. What do you think coordinators are going to do? Everybody adjusts in this game.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
You know what I'm saying? So why can't you change?
No, it's
Come
fair.
up and smack somebody in the mouth.
It's a very fair criticism of him. I think he is slow to adjust, stubborn, fearful. I don't know what it is. And again, I get it. He doesn't want to give the big play up. That's one of the objectives and all that. But there are times you have to force the issue. You can't always let the other team dictate to you. You have to force the issue sometimes, and he's hesitant to do that. And I don't like that. I don't like it.
Here's a plus and a minus that I take away from. We're talking about the defense. The defense tackled better, but they were tackling moving backwards. Okay, instead of moving forward. Number two, I hate to bring up his name again because he's Barrett's boy, but the thing that shocked me most, made me stand up out of my chair, was Fletcher Cox, 6'4", 310 pounds, has Brian Robinson, 6'1", 228, up on the shoulder pass at the goal line. And, oh, by the way, here comes C.J. Gardner-Johnson to help him. The two of them could not stop Brian Robinson from scoring that touchdown. Fletcher's holding him like you holding bags of groceries. And why did you wrap that man up? Why did you take him to the ground? Why are you holding him by the shoulder pads, trying to hold him up? You're 6'4", 310. Go low and take his legs out from under him. And I'm sitting there going, what are they talking about in team meetings? Are these things not – are they coaches afraid of people like the Fletcher Coxes and stuff? Are you afraid to call them out?
I don't know. And that's why I go back to what I said earlier. Like, do you guys remember? He was very critical. He said this system, he didn't like it. He didn't want to, he had a lot of different criticisms about it. Now, I think everybody sort of got on the same page and were professional about it and, whatever. But I don't think he likes playing in this system. I think he likes what the Eagles offered him, and he wasn't getting anywhere near that anywhere else, and he's here. I think that plays into it. Plus, he's not the same guy.
He's absolutely not the same guy right now. And I don't understand why these young guys aren't stepping up either. Like, why wasn't Wilson dressed for this game?
Right.
Why wasn't he dressed for this game? Why wasn't he out there? I didn't see anybody try to step up and it seemed like nobody wanted to play. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was giving the effort on the D-line that I was looking for, that I expected, that usually I received from this Eagles team.
I really hope, and look, I think that he will. Let me just say that let me preface it by that. I really hope Sirianni doesn't just do hey guys, let's flush this. It's one of those games. This should be a teaching moment. Gannon has a lot to teach from this, mind you. The special teams coach, Michael Clay, has a lot to teach from this. And Sirianni and Steichen have a lot to teach from this. This was not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And I hope the coaches really self-evaluate and look themselves in the mirror and say, man, what the heck were we doing going in, and what did we do during the game?
Right.
It was that kind of effort. Like, as bad as this was, had it not been for a couple, I firmly believe that if they go in and score on that Quez Watkins fumble possession, they probably win.
Absolutely.
And just escape it, as ugly as this game was, they probably get by, sort of like the Houston game.
Absolutely.
I think the same thing. Maybe this teaches you more with the loss than the sort of fortunate win would have.
Right. Well, I hate to lose, period. A loss is a loss. But I'd have felt bad even if they had pulled this game out. I'd have still felt bad because the nature in which how it happened.
Yeah.
The Washington Commanders were nowhere near the caliber of team the Eagles were, which is why they were still in it so far and so late in the game, even with how high the Commanders were playing. The Commandos were playing at an all-time high. You know, everything was working for them. Ball bounced their way, and we were still in the game. That just goes to show how good this team is, you know, as far as the talent level. We were still in the game. We still could have won the game. But they just didn't take they just hungry dogs, you know, we say a hungry dog runs faster or whatever they say.
Their bellies were full last night.
Yes, and you could tell that the Commanders were starved.
They were. Look, all the things we knew going in, right? When you're 8-0, you get the target on your back. Everybody wants to knock you off, right?
Yep.
So that's number one. Number two, it's a division rival game. They beat you at your place, so Washington was going to be ticked off from that. So you knew that going in. I think they'll never say this publicly, but I think they all feel collectively like they have a better chance to win without Wentz. You know, even though Heineke wasn't great. We all know that, but he made plays. So I think they feel like there was a lot of things going in Washington's favor, but that doesn't excuse the Eagles away. I'm just saying, you know, Washington, they wanted it more, man. We can say it. It's okay. They fought harder and they got the win and they deserve the win. And the Eagles don't.
If you remember me saying it, what's the day? Tuesday? I brought it up a couple times Monday. You look at Washington's previous 5 games. All 5 games have been decided by 4 points or less. They were 3-2 in those games, and Heineke, since he took over, is 2-1. They were right on the cusp of turning things around. That game against Minnesota, they had Minnesota dead to rights. They had them up 17-7 in the 17-7 fourth quarter. Heineke made 2 crucial mistakes, which led to Minnesota's win. If you look at the game last night, he did the same thing. He sent a pass deep down the middle. Luckily for him, nobody was there. He sailed another pass down the middle that could have been detrimental. Unfortunately, it wasn't. The law of averages finally flipped in their favor. I mean, they're not a great team. They're not a bad team. They're not a bad team. They have a good running combination in Gibson and Robinson. They've got 3 good receivers, and one of them is a Swiss Army knife in Curtis Samuel, who the jet sweep. I tell you what, that one jet sweep he had that was called back, it was wide open down the sideline. If it hadn't been a penalty on one, he was gone. They got lucky in that regard. So as many breaks.
Then he ran the same play at the goal line and scored.
Yes, they did. Exactly. So they see something in this Eagles defense, and kudos to Scott Turner for the game plan he came up with. He stuck to it. I wonder, and if they'll never admit it, the Eagles ran the ball once. They got 1 yard on a run to Boston Scott. Then they started going to the air. Was it in the back of their mind, hey, this Washington defense held us to 72 yards the last time we played.
That's absolutely what it was.
You think so?
We don't want to bump our head against the wall. Why are we going to do this? Instead of just going out there and do what you do best. Sometimes the discipline of understanding what you are as a team outweighs sometimes what a game plan should dictate. You are what you are. You're not going to lose your stripes. You're not going to lose your spots. You are a running team. The offensive line is built to run. And I saw a couple instances, and you heard Jalen at the end in his press conference. And I've never seen him say things he said about, well, what was it? We lack discipline.
Left money on the table?
No. He said something to the effect that they didn't play well up front, or the offensive line didn't. It lacked discipline, or it was something to that nature.
Right.
That the guys up front didn't play as well as they should have played. And it was surprising me and shocking to me. I don't know.
Yeah, he usually doesn't call out teammates. Is that what you're trying to say?
But he called out the offensive line and said he called them out in a small way, and you had to listen to it to understand what he was saying about it. When you see the press conference again, listen to what he says, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely worth noting, right? That's for sure. So yeah, I mean, the thing you wonder about is they got to. I feel like if they could get the containment of the run game from a defensive standpoint under control, everything else will kind of come. Like, I think the sacks will start to open up a little bit. We know they can take the ball away. We know the secondary's good. This is assuming everybody's healthy. I think that part of it will be fine. When we come back, we're going to turn our sights to the offense because it was a game where it's hard to really gauge exactly what that was because they didn't have the ball much, in fairness. But that's not to say that they didn't have opportunities either. Like, I'll again, and we'll get into this more in a second, but, you know, to start the second half, one of the reasons you defer is to get the ball and, you know, try and take it to them. You went 3 and out in the blink of an eye. You know, the drive at the end of the first half, I don't know what that was with some of the play calls, and you gave it back to Washington, and they ended up getting a field goal out of it. By the way, their kicker's nasty. That dude was hitting from everywhere.
That dude,
58
slide.
Oh my God.
Let me ask you this before you go to break.
Yeah.
Because it's been debated on social media a lot. We debated it on our postgame show last night. Would you have declined that penalty?
Yes.
Yes.
100%. I didn't
Really?
like it at the time. I said at the time, I don't like it.
See, I would have pushed him back further. I mean, I understand he hit a 58-yarder. I want to see you hit it over 60. I want to see you hit,
No, I understand what you're saying.
You know
I was
what I'm
surprised
saying?
he hit the 57-yarder, frankly, but yeah, he's got a leg.
And plus, it would have been, if he had pushed him back, it would have been what, 3rd and 18, 3rd and 20,
18,
something?
17,
something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about Taylor Heineke throwing a 20-yard pass.
I know, like that, and that eliminates the run game totally, unless you're just trying to get in the field goal range.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I want to see him hit. I want to see him hit it from 60.
No, you're right.
Now, granted, that 58-yarder, he hit about 7 yards to spare on that 58-yarder.
Yeah, he's
but
good.
Still. Now, if it's a dome, it's a little different because the elements of control.
Or if it's like super nice weather, sometimes.
Yes, like Miami.
Yeah.
But in that stadium, you got a slight wind.
It was cold and windy last
cold
night.
Ball, yes.
Yeah.
Man, he kicked that ball to the next county, dude.
He did. Props.
Kicked the skin off of it.
Yeah, my man can kick.
So that's where I was. I'm like, I wouldn't have declined that.
Derek, I didn't think Nick had a feel for things in game. I didn't think his coordinators did either. And the play, like, I'm just trying to think of anybody who played particularly well. Like, can you guys think of anyone who you say, man, that guy really stood out?
Offensively or defensively?
Either side.
Wow, hold on. Let me think. I think T.J. Edwards had a bad game.
Yeah, the linebackers weren't good.
Linebackers had a bad game. Slay had a bad game.
Bradbury was quiet, which is probably a good thing for him. You know, he was covering.
D-line, no.
Maybe Gardner Johnson, maybe.
He had one pick. I mean, he had one pick. Okay.
But I'm saying, like, if we're searching this hard to find someone who stood out,
true. Yeah,
not a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
really,
Kayvon Wallace had one good hit, first hit of the season, but still.
Yeah.
That was a nice tackle.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He made one play this season. That's what I said.
Absolutely. All right, let's do the offensive side of the ball when we come back. Again, 1:30. Bo Wolf is going to be joining us 2:00. We'll get into our NFL segment as well. We got a ton of birthdays and movies still. We are ripe with those. All right, we'll come back. We will talk about the offense in last night's loss to the Commanders. He's Barrett Brooks. He's Derek Gunn. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Pro Action Restoration because you want to take this number down and get this website down too. Because if this kind of thing hits you, a lot of times you're not prepared. Whether it's water damage to your house, whether it's fire, whether it's smoke, whether it's mold issues or something else, and you can't quite clean it up or get it under control, that's why they're here. Pro Action is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you from personal experience, I went through it. It was at my parents' house. They were upset. There was water in their basement. It was a mess. And Pro Action got out there. They cleaned it up. The crew was professional, clean. The price was reasonable. It was an incredible experience. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. Again, could be water, could be fire, could be smoke damage, mold remediation. You name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond League Hockey a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
Back, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, Barrett, and Brooks. We'll get to the offense in a second. I want to address the chat room, and I'm not going to name names because I won't give the Weasels the satisfaction. But the Cowboys losers, somebody flipped their rock over, and they've crawled out. I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, did your team win this week?
Oh,
they didn't. Did your team beat the Eagles when they played head-to-head? No, they didn't. Has your team won in the last quarter century? No, they haven't. Bill Clinton was actually in office the last time your team won. So take that and stick it way up your ass, Cowboys fans. Okay.
My goodness.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. You know what? Wait.
I'm done. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Bravissimo. Hey, we're talking about COVID, and sometimes you got to make tough business decisions. And I just saw coming across the wire, Green Bay's returner, Amari Rodgers. He's fast as lightning. He can't hold on to the football.
Can't secure the ball, yeah.
They just cut him.
Wow, released him, yeah. And Kylan Hill, yeah.
And Kylan Hill. They just cut him.
Who? Interesting.
Amari Rodgers, their punt returner. Mm-hmm. He fumbled in the game against Dallas, and it could have cost him big time. Mm-hmm. That's like his fourth or fifth fumble this season. Mm-hmm. They just cut him.
Wow.
So I'm not saying, and I'm not coming down on Kobe, but I hate to say, he's not a returner.
No, he's not.
Okay,
he's not.
He's not a returner. And people are talking about maybe it's time to bring up Allen. I don't know if he's an answer. Nope. I don't know if they have an answer on the roster because you're not putting Devontae back there. You can't now. You're not putting Quez Watkins back there. Mm-hmm. So who are you putting back there?
And you can't. You're right. I mean, you can't risk Devontae. Like I was thinking last night, it was a late one. It was in the fourth. I can't remember exactly. It might have been the last time the Eagles returned a punt. I'm just thinking maybe you take the risk, but man, I can't have Devontae broken in half with this scheme that doesn't block either.
I know.
So it's a tough call. It really is.
I think the only viable option is Gainwell. He's done it before. He's sure-handed. He's not fast, but he's sure-handed.
I agree.
But I think he's the only viable option on kickoff return.
You know what the only thing I can think of, guys, and I don't know because we're not there in practice. Maybe these guys really struggle securing the ball, like Gainwell or one of those guys in practice. I don't know. It's just you probably would have tried something else by now if you had something on the roster.
Right, that's what it is right there. They would have tried something, and I think they're scared to put Covey on the practice squad. I don't know why. Why wouldn't you? Can he go back on practice squad because he's been down?
They did the thing back and forth too many times.
Yeah,
but if you have to cut him, I mean,
oh well, good
yeah,
riddance.
yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right, offensively, and again, a lot of this is colored by the fact that they didn't have the ball a lot, man. They weren't on the field, so it's hard to really get into them. But Jalen, 17 of 26, 175 yards, had the 2 touchdowns. And did throw the pick, which, again, you could make a case that A.J. Brown should have caught, but it was also a little dangerous in double coverage. But I would say this. I felt like he was like a tick off last night. And what I mean by that is, like, even that really nice play design, as much as we're killing the coaches, I thought the fake quarterback draw jump pass to Goddard.
Yes.
Goddard makes a really nice catch on that.
Yeah, he does.
Yes.
Something like that should have been executed a little bit cleaner. He was just a tattle. Like, he got Devontae blown up one time where he threw it behind him. I thought he was okay. Like, he wasn't bad. He was, I thought last night.
Let me ask you this. Why are they not throwing the ball more to Miles out of the backfield?
Yeah,
Couple of years ago, he was a viable option out of the backfield. He could catch the ball. I've always said that young man in open space is more dangerous than he is running between the tackles. Mm-hmm. Why not put him out in the slot, match him up against the linebacker? Why don't they throw him the ball? Oh, Boston Scott, for that matter. Boston Scott is, and the reason I said it, Gainwell goes over the middle, wide open, doink, drops the wide open pass. You throw to Gainwell, but you won't throw to Miles, who is your lead back, who has shown the previous regime that he has a pair of good hands. But you won't throw him the ball.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. If you can't run him, get him involved in the offense, like Washington does with the Curtis Samuel, like a Debo would in San Francisco, whether he's running the ball. Find a way to get him more involved in the offense. What are you doing? It's academic.
I think we just got to run him. To only have one run. He had one run in the first half. It's a travesty. Yeah. It's a travesty, man. You cannot tell me that they didn't need to at least establish the run going into the game.
Yep.
They at least need to establish it, get it going, because you've always got that ace in the hole in your back pocket. When they did decide they want to run the ball, that's when they took control of the game. But to not run the ball, if you are a leopard, you have the same spots whether you go in the dark or you're out there in the light. Why can't this Eagles team understand it? If you're a zebra, whether it's dark outside or it's light outside, you still have the same stripes. This is an Eagles team that runs the ball.
Man, that was too deep. I'm trying to.
I know, man. I'm in the wilderness. I'm in the jungle. The nature. Deep. I don't know what's going on.
You just don't. Why are you trying to get away from what you do well? It doesn't make sense to me.
Point well taken, Barrett. Honestly, again, one touch from him for him. I don't know, man. Were you trying to be too cute? I'm not sure. They didn't kill Washington on the ground in the first game. They killed him in the air.
Yep.
And Devontae in particular hurt them bad. And AJ was pretty good. But
you didn't think they were going to make adjustments from the last
time?
No,
I'm saying I agree
exactly.
with you. Yeah, that's where I was headed. I would think that Washington was going to try to do everything it can to contain the receivers, which should have opened it up on the ground for you if you tried to do it. You didn't try.
And once again, Washington held him to under 100 yards. They had 94 yards rushing.
Yeah.
That's a running game going in the second half at one point. Then he abandoned the run again. I'm like, am I watching the same team?
And they averaged, Derek, 4.7 yards per carry. So, pretty good, right? So Miles averaged 4.5. Jalen, 4.7. But Gainwell had 1 carry for 7 yards. Scott had 1 for 5 yards. In comparison, granted, they had way more attempts and way more yards, but Washington was only 3.1 yards per carry. Like, it's not like you were getting killed and tackled for losses and Miles couldn't get anything going and you abandoned it. You just didn't try it enough.
And this is the third straight game I've seen DNs do a better job of containing on those RPOs. This is the third straight game now I've seen this happen. Whereas they were really sucking DNs in on the RPOs now. Washington did the same thing that the previous two teams did. Their ends are rushing to a certain point, and they're stopping. So they're forcing the play back towards the middle. They're not allowing a lot of the outside stuff. Now, they were playing defenses that had discipline in, but not enough in the middle of the defense to do a lot of things that they want to do. they're going to play a Colts defense this week that's 4th in the league in defense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk about how bad the Colts are, but they're still one of the more physical defenses in the game.
Yeah,
and they're fast. They're fast defense. They don't miss tackles. This is a defense that doesn't miss tackles.
Yeah. So
what are you going to do? What do you got to do on a short week? Again, you're down your potential Pro Bowl tight end. Your slot corner's out for at least 3 more games. We don't know the status of AJ. The things that have caught other teams all season long are starting to catch up to you a little bit. What are you going to do now to alter what you're going to face on Sunday?
Yeah. Go back.
You run the ball.
Yeah, run the ball.
You run the ball, establish the line of scrimmage,
which
will keep you in the game, keep their offense off the field.
Yes.
It all stems back to running the ball. Yes. I mean, you look at this Washington team. Okay, they only averaged 3 yards a carry. But those 3 yards a carry kept them on time as an offense. They were able to convert first downs because they ran the ball consistently. They kept our offense off the field. Why? Because they ran the ball consistently.
Yes, they did.
No, you're right, Barry.
They ran 51 plays because of that running game.
Here's the other part of this. All good teams. Look, these guys are paid a lot of money, and they're really smart. They're at the NFL level for a reason. Right. Eventually, coaches and coordinators are going to adjust to what you do. As successful as the Eagles had been early in the year and throughout really the first half of the year, whatever, eventually there were going to be adjustments made. Now we find out what the Eagles are made of. How are they countering? What are you doing differently now that they're taking this away? Now that they're picking up on the RPO a little bit better, or whatever it is, either side of the ball. How are you countering that with this move? This is where we're going to find out if Steichen and Gannon and whomever are real candidates to be an NFL coach next year. Show me what you got now, because you have a lot of talent. Still a lot of talent there.
You still got to do what you do best, and that's run the ball, man.
No, I agree, Barrett. That's your foundation for everything.
Right.
It should be, at least. Hey, in regards to the Goddard thing, so Goddard is going on, the IR. He's going to be down for a while. You got Stoll, you got Calcaterra, who's a rookie, but Tyree Jackson is eligible to come off.
Right.
So, this week he's off the IR, and I don't know where he's at health-wise, but he's at least eligible.
This is a great opportunity for him to show what he has.
So, we know what Stoll is. Stoll's going to be a good blocker, and he actually made an all right catch last night.
He'll be his number one. He'll be the number one.
But these guys have an opportunity. The young kids, Calcaterra and Tyree Jackson have a chance here to do something.
Well, one man's injury is another man's opportunity. And where's Tyree Jackson? Where is he? Is he still hurt?
That's what I'm saying.
I know, but where is he?
He can practice now, so I guess.
Okay, but he can practice now. Is he ready for game shape?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where he's at.
Yeah. Well, now the reason I say this is because Baltimore goes out and gets Deshaun Jackson. Okay, he's been sitting at home. I've been working out. First game, he pulls a hamstring. So
what else is new?
He pulls a hamstring. He's out of the game. So Tyree Jackson would be a great option if he's available. But I wonder what kind of game shape he's in at this point.
Look, if everybody's healthy, you still have AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Zach Pass. Like, you should be able to move the ball in the air when you're not running it. You should be able to do that. And you still have a really good offensive line. So, and a guy who was an MVP candidate quarterback going into last night's game. Not that he did anything terrible to
hurt his.
But the point is, there's so much talent there. Like, it's tough. It's a big loss. Dallas Goedert, we all know how good he is. But come on, man. Like, the other part, I know they miss Jordan Davis, but my God, man, like, you got to be able to overcome this stuff. It can't be this bad when Jordan Davis leaves.
Can't be. Got to be more careful, man. Got to be more careful.
Yeah. So, you have that. And again, it was one of those nights last night. AJ Brown catches that ball. He's limping. You're like, he went right back in. Mike Quick was talking about on the radio broadcast last night that he felt like AJ didn't have the right spikes for some reason, and he changed them out, and he still didn't feel like it was right. I don't know where Mike might have been really just keen picking that up, but he said he felt like maybe that was the issue, that he did tweak something because he didn't have the right spikes on. Well,
he was like, even on that comeback he tried to run when when Hurst tried to back shoulder it, and he slid down then.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the only one sliding like that. You know,
right.
So
that's when he pointed it out, Barrett, on that one when he fell, and Hurts, I think, still threw it to him, right?
Yeah, he threw it to him. He tried to back shoulder it. He slid on the ground. It would have been a first down, too. It'd have been a first down completion. Yeah. And they ended up punting on that drive. Those are the little things that you see that, you know, that could have kept them in the game. But just those little things, man, are the difference between these guys winning and losing. They can't afford not to be a consistent team that does the little things right. And that was when we had success. We ran the ball consistently. The 6 games we had, first 6 games, we ran the ball when we wanted to run the ball. These last 3 games, they haven't. You know what I'm saying? The last 3 games, they haven't. 6 games, you run the ball, you win. They have 2 games that get kind of shoddy and slotty, and they don't win. Well, they win 2 and lose 1 because they changed what they wanted to do conceptually as a team, offensively. You just don't do it. I mean, I understand you want to drop back pass, but you still got to run the ball. Even if you don't run RPOs, hand the damn ball off, give it to your running backs, let them go out there and play. You saw what they did in the second half. They were dynamic. I knew the first time they go into halftime losing, I really thought that this team felt like they were still going to win the game.
Yes.
That there was no sense of urgency going into halftime. There was no sense of urgency coming out of halftime. They're like, all right, we'll eventually get into it. We'll eventually, turn things around and win the game. And that's how I felt they had the sense that that's what was going to happen. Oh, we're not going to lose this game. There's no way we lose this game. And they end up losing the game.
And some of that's bore out of the, being undefeated. Maybe there's a little arrogance there. And this is what you need to knock you back down a couple pegs. Again, this could serve to as a good thing. And right now we're all, angry about it and all that. But, I mean, it could serve as a good thing if you get back to the basics and you get your act together in this Colts game. You come out and run the ball.
I'm not angry, Rob.
I know you're fine, Derek.
I'm in a peaceful place, Rob.
Yeah, namaste. But if you come out and you run the ball against the Colts and you hold Taylor to 80 yards and 3.9 yards per carry, you can get this thing right back on track very quickly. Let me ask you guys this: how much? I'm not, and this is not excuses. Just trying to dig into this. 2 games. They hadn't played in 11 days. 2 games in 29 days. Is there any legitimacy to that with the way that they play?
Absolutely. I'm gonna read you what Dan just sent me. Dan sent me Fletcher looks like he hasn't had Fletcher looks like he doesn't have the flexibility anymore to get low and play with leverage. Then he put right after that, 3 games in 29 days. Dudes like Fletcher need activity. They need to keep going. They need that sense of purpose to go out there and play. And some of the guys are too young to really know what to do in that idle time. Sometimes you need that purpose of playing week in and week out, staying on schedule, going out there and be consistently playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. And that's exactly what happened. They just weren't ready to play. This team just wasn't ready to play. Yeah,
it's fair. And look, we have seen it all week. The big thing that's also interesting here from an Eagles perspective is you look at the standings in the NFC. So you have the Giants are just a game behind at 7-2. The Eagles have yet to play them. They'll play 2 more times before the end of the season. Cowboys with the loss on Sunday are 6-3, and the Eagles hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. Anyway, easy for me to say. Then you have the Vikings who are 8-1, same record as the Eagles. However, the Eagles beat them head-to-head. And then you have the teams that may be sort of coming back to life.
Yep.
You got Tampa Bay. Maybe Green Bay. I think I need to see it 2 straight weeks from Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay's playing Tennessee Thursday night. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. And then you have the 49ers. So, they're not going to run away here. They're just not. As much as we think the Giants are going to fall into the abyss or fill in the blank, the Vikings, they're not going to. So they're going to have heat on them. They got to figure this out.
49ers scare me more than any other team in the NFC right now.
I would agree.
There's no question. And I've been saying it for a few weeks. The only thing the 49ers have not been was healthy. And now they're slowly getting healthy. And when I watched that Tampa Bay defense play against Seattle with Akeem Hicks back Antoine Winfield back, much different defense. That was like the Tampa Bay defense from 2 years ago that won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The way they put the clamps down on Seattle's offense, the way Seattle's been blowing people up lately, they jumped out because of their defense. They built that 21-3 lead and cruise from there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at that defense, I said, "Oh my goodness!" And you've added Christian McCaffrey to go along with Deebo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittles on that offense. You already rugged in the trenches, both on the offensive and defensive lines. And you can say what you, they're only 500. There's a reason why they were 500. Okay. They didn't have the personnel. Kittle was out for a while.
Yeah, he was.
Deebo missed a game or two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You had all kind of key players across the defense that
and
were
they
out.
didn't have McCaffrey.
Didn't have McCaffrey. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, they didn't blow out the last opponent. They only won by 6. That was a good defensive game against the Chargers. But 49ers won that game. Mm-hmm. They out-physicaled San Diego, the LA Chargers. And that's what their whole scheme is predicated on. They like to play bully ball on both sides of the football.
Yeah, I agree. And they're built for road, bad weather, playoff kind of thing because they can play defense and run the ball. Yeah. And they have strong receivers like Deebo. Just really Ayuk.
See, you guys said everything that I think when I think about the Eagles. Built well to go different places and play, run the ball consistently, defensively. They do enough to stop you. It's the exact same thing, but I think we're a better team because we have a better quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
great receivers.
Yep.
That's why I say I still don't think that this 49er team is even in the class with the Eagles at this point.
Well, that's why to me, it's far from panic time.
Yes, exactly.
This is a really good Eagles team.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
really good on a lot of levels. I think they need to wake up a little bit, change things up. Yeah,
we agree in unison that this is a really good Eagles team. What are we saying next Monday if they mess around and lose to the Colts?
It depends. I think it depends how they lose. If it's the same patterns here, you're saying to yourself, "Look out! It's 4 straight weeks they've gotten killed on the ground." And maybe they aren't able to stop it. Well, maybe there aren't adjustments to be made.
It has to be hand in hand. It has to go hand in hand. The defense has to play well, and they only play well when the offense is out there and time possession is in their favor. That's when the Eagles play best on the defensive side of the ball. If time possession is in the Eagles' favor.
Yep.
When they can control the line of scrimmage on the offensive side of the ball, run when they want to run, pass when they want to pass, get that defense enough time to sit down, evaluate what's going on instead of being out there the entire time, they're better suited to do that. But these last 3 games, they've had to play it a little more than they're accustomed to playing. And that's only because they've not run the ball as consistently as they should. Even when they're passing the ball and the passing game is working, you score a lot faster when you do that. You don't keep your offense on the field as long as you do when you run the ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You go down the field quicker, and this team is not what they want to do. It's not.
I hope there's not the, hey, we had to run it last year just because we had to do what we had to do. We ultimately want to pass the ball, and this is where we're trending. Lean into what you do best. Run the ball and work off of that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what they have to do, man. That's what they have to do.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with just running a rock, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they got to get.
I don't know why. Yeah.
And look at the success that Washington had doing that. And Dan, it says 47-81, like we talked about. Yeah, absolutely. I mean that was a keep away game plan that worked to perfection. They kept it away from the Eagles.
Yep.
In turn, it wore the Eagles down, and Washington ran it to perfection. How much are you leaning on Frank Reich this week? And from a consultation standpoint,
are they going to bring him in? I doubt they even bring him in.
Well, Nick says he talks to him all the time. I don't even mean in an official capacity. I just mean, hey, Frank. Yeah. And how much does Frank want to give all the dirt up? I don't know. I mean, it's a weird spot for Reich to be in.
Well, you have Vic Fangio as a consultant, right?
Yes. Yeah, he was at training camp a bunch of times. I know that.
You had Marty Morningweg as an offensive consultant. I wouldn't put it past him to bring in Frank Reich, or consult with Frank Reich about what he's seeing from an offense to make it a better offense. Despite what happened to Frank in Indianapolis, Frank is still a very good offensive mind. He was in a bad situation in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he's even interested, in terms of helping out his protege, Sirianni. I'm sure that'll come out in the next days or weeks if that is the case.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, yeah.
He just starts showing up, every once in a while in the, in maybe in a meeting room here and there, or maybe at lunch sometimes at the NovaCare system, and go from there to being, it's just the way that the ball bounces in the league. You go from team to team as a coach.
Right. Yeah, no question. And he may be, Frank Reich might just say, man, I got to get away from it for 2 months. That wasn't the most fun experience this past year. Who knows? I don't know how that all works out, but it's definitely a resource that you could tap into. That's for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
We're going to come back, and Bo Wolf from The Athletic, he was at the game last night. We'll get his impressions on, not only the game last night, but the Goddard injury and that impact, where this team goes, as we move forward here. A lot to get into as they suffer their first defeat on the season due to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now 8-1 on the season, with the Colts coming up in Indy. Jeff Saturday and the Colts in Indy this Sunday. So we'll dive into all that. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. I got to tell you, I'm walking around, walking the dog, driving down my street in my neighborhood. I see a lot of older trees, branches kind of hanging over into the house, onto the roof, in the backyard, onto the street, looking dangerous. Okay. So you want to kind of be preemptive here when you look at this, because we're in that time of year with hurricanes, with heavy winds, all that kind of stuff, where you need to get your trees evaluated. And there's no better time than right now to do it before it becomes a big problem. You give him a call, 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848. They will, basically, they can handle any kind of tree, whether you need it removed altogether, you need a stump grinding, you need tree pruning, whatever the case may be, they can handle it. And they service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware. You can reach out online as well. FlynnTreeServices.com. That's FlynnTreeServices.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
All right, it is Tuesday. I would say happy Tuesday, but I don't think Eagles fans are all that happy after the way last night went down. That's for sure. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis. And joining us right now, we turn our sights to the man who's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him and does an amazing job covering the Eagles for The Athletic, Bo Wolf. Bo, what's happening, my man?
I'm working on like 2 hours of sleep. I feel like half a human being, but I'm happy to be here. How are you guys?
You're a
No
gamer,
question, man. No
That's
question.
what we love about you. It doesn't matter. Yes.
Yeah. I'm still a little pissed off, man. I'm still
Go ahead,
pissed
Barrett.
off, bro.
Yes, vent, man.
It shouldn't have happened. Number one, it shouldn't have happened. I'm one of the believers that we didn't need to lose just to stay focused. I don't think it was even a focus thing. That reason why we lost. I think hungry dogs run faster, and those are hungry dogs on the side of the field. They wanted it more than this Eagles team wanted it. Period. It wasn't anything schematic or anything that they did anything different. They just flat out kicked our ass up front.
Bo, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting because Jalen Hurts said that his message to the team yesterday morning was like that hungry dogs run faster. We don't have to manufacture, motivation. We should be just as hungry now as we were at the start of the season. And, he said, we'll see how we bounce back. He said he's confident that they will respond well. I mean, I think I find it hard to get like super angry and worked up about this game because it was sort of like you knew that a weird game like this was coming, right? They weren't going to win the turnover battle every single week like they had through the first 8 games. There were some fluky plays in this game. I mean, if Quez Watkins just runs under that ball instead of falling to the ground, he scores a 75-yard touchdown and gives the Eagles a lead, and I'm not so sure that the defense can't just close that game out. Obviously, the Dallas Goedert play, which we can talk about and we can get to because, he's going to be out for a couple weeks. It sounds like that's a game-changing play. There were some coin flips in this game that I think it's hard to get super angry about from my perspective. However, there is also the glaring flaw of the run defense that is the thing that they need to fix, and they're going to need to figure out a way to fix it fast given the schedule that's coming up.
Well, let's talk about that, Bo, because this has been building, right? It's the third straight week they've given up $140 or more on the ground. They've been able to overcome it. I think in a lot of ways they've had leads and teams probably abandoned the run later in games, et cetera. But certainly the game plan last night was just to pound it down the Eagles' throat. Is it as simple as adjustments? Do they have the personnel to be able to at least curtail it to an extent in your estimation? I mean, can we lay all this at Jordan Davis, is out? I've heard that ad nauseum. I'm not denying it, but my God, he wasn't playing that much. So where do you stand on the run defense?
Yeah, I'm with you that the Jordan Davis absence is a little bit overstated. I mean, it's important for sure, and you saw it last night. Not only the fact that Marlon Tuipulotu and Marlon Tuipulotu at nose tackle is a significant downgrade from Jordan Davis, right? And then if you put Javon Hargrave there, that means that he doesn't get to rush the passer and get up the field. So, yeah, it's a big absence. But they weren't a good run defense with Jordan Davis. They were like 25th, I think, in run defense before he left. So it's not like they were lighting the world on fire.
Right.
And what does it say about your defense if, like, your rookie first-round pick leaving is going to collapse the entire scheme? Now, Washington gained like 3.5 yards a carry yesterday. So it's not like they were dominating them, but the fact that they were able to do it so consistently with so few negative plays to get them behind schedule when the Eagles knew what they were going to do, I think you lay that at Jonathan Gannon's feet a little bit. You can't blitz Taylor Heineke a little bit more and be a little bit more aggressive. I think they blitzed twice in the entire first half. Now,
wow,
6 times the whole game.
Yep,
right. And so they bowed up at the end of the game, right? Like they forced 3 punts when the game was in the balance, and so you give them credit for that. They made some adjustments, but there was a 5-drive stretch starting in the second quarter when they had 5 scoring drives of like 12 plays, 16 plays, 13 plays, 8 plays, 13 plays. Like, that's not good enough. And I know that everything is all part of the same interconnectivity, but if the offense is on the field for 6 minutes in the first half, it's tough to get a rhythm, right?
Hey, Bo, would you categorize this game under the heading of either it was just one of those dog day afternoons or nights, as we've seen everybody go through in the National Football League, except the Eagles up to this point, or a blueprint has definitely been laid in terms of how to neutralize the Eagles?
I would lean more towards the former, especially division games. You know, second time playing a team, those games can get a little bit wonky. I also think that the idea that like this is the blueprint to beat them is a little bit like, well, didn't everybody already know that you could run on the Eagles, right? Like, they didn't need to see this game to know that that could be the formula. And just because you run doesn't mean that you're going to win the turnover battle, right? So I think I chalk it up a little bit more to some bad luck that was probably going to come over the course of a 17-game season.
Yeah.
Luck is something that you can go out and you can will to happen for you. And I think that's exactly what Washington did. They willed this team to win just by their nature of how they approached the game. When you
by how late they kneeled down at the end of the game, that's
right. Just little things, man. Like what did Tyson say? Everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. Something close to that. Well, the Eagles got punched in the mouth, and I really thought that all right, in the second half, it's going to come around and we'll be the dominant team we usually were, and we never did get to that point. But you can I kind of felt that that's what they were thinking, that they were going to go out in the second half, reestablish who they are. Like, don't you guys know who I am? Do you really think you're going to win? Don't you know who I am? And they're still punching them off again. It made them like it, you know, and I really get a sense that that's what they were thinking.
And I think I think the real example of that was the first drive of the second half, right? The Eagles offense gets the ball. We've seen them do this over the course of the season. You know, they like to double dip there. They didn't score at the end of the second quarter, but you go into halftime, you have a chance to adjust. All right, we're coming out. We've got the ball. Let's go, you know, make a statement here. And they go 3 and out. And that was pretty bad. Now, to be fair, they then, you know, later in the third quarter go on a touchdown drive. I thought Jalen Hurts was really good in that drive. And they were able to, you know, you talk about like leaning on the other team. It seemed to me like in the middle of the third quarter through the middle of the fourth quarter, the Eagles offensive line was dominating the Commanders defensive line up front. But then you get a chance at the end of the game to win too, and you go 3 and out again. And I didn't like going 13 personnel there on 2nd and 8. You know, the game is on the line. We really need to take A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith off the field right now.
Right.
For sure. I like that. And then there was a miscommunication, and I think Jalen Hurts got a little bit scrambly on that last third down play. So, like, in my heart, I believed that Jalen Hurts was going to lead a touchdown drive there. And so that was disappointing, I think. But, you know, you're right. I mean, which team deserved to win that game yesterday based on how they played? Certainly Washington.
Yes, absolutely.
Bo, you brought it up, and not to bury the lead here, but the Goddard injury, total insult to injury, by the way, with the play in which it happened. But so now you're looking at Stoll, you're looking at Calcaterra, and Tyree Jackson eligible to come off the IR here. Give me the impact of this thing, because, you know, we always talk about, I think, 3 or 4 people before we even get to Dallas Goedert, but this guy is a premier tight end. How big a loss is this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty major loss because I think the gap between Dallas Goedert and, you know, Jack Stoll, or whoever you want to say is the number 2 tight end, might be the most significant on the roster. I think you can make a case for safety maybe. But I also think the Eagles have answers here, especially if it's not, you know, a long-term injury. And the word right now is that they're going to wait on some more tests to decide whether this is worth an injured reserve placement or not. So that means, you know, it's probably more like a 3-week injury they're thinking right now. And to me, this means more Zach Pascal is on the field probably because he has some blocking capability and can give you a little bit in the passing game like Dallas Goedert can. I think you play more 11 personnel. Now, to be fair, there are times when Nick Sirianni's instinct is here to then like go to 12 personnel to really block it up and maybe lean on the running game a little bit more, which they may be able to do against some of these opponents. But I think in the short term, they have enough weapons and enough tools in their tool belt to get through this without Dallas Goedert.
Hey, Bo, have you been able to get a better gauge on A.J. Brown's situation? You know, once he tweaked that ankle, he limped the rest of the game, was not the same player. Now, he said he feels he's going to be fine. You know, surprise, every player says that. But have you heard anything else in terms of where he is right now?
You know, he was interesting in the post-game locker room, Gunner. Like his like emotional state was like very much, this is fine, no big deal at all. Like,
right.
You know, he said, if you're looking for me to frown, that's not who I am. I like, you know, what we do in the playoffs is what really matters. And so, you know, he's the one who said it's kind of nice that we don't have to worry about 17-0 now. Right. I think we can debate about whether that's true or not, but it is kind of nice that they can sort of focus on the task at hand now. They know the stakes that are ahead of them. It's about getting the 1 seed. Let's put our energy towards that. But yeah, I mean, he did not look like himself after tweaking that ankle, especially on that interception that Jalen Hurts threw. It didn't seem like he had quite the gas either to go out and get the ball or to go up and get the ball. And he only had 1 catch in the game. So, like, if A.J. Brown is 60% of himself over the next few weeks, that's pretty significant. And this is a player who has had an injury history.
Let me ask you this. Did you hear what Jalen had said in his press conference, where he kind of talked about the offensive line, but didn't reference exactly the offensive line, but it said that there were some problems with the offensive line?
Well, so this was interesting because Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelce had a little, meeting between the two of them for about 10 minutes in the postgame locker room, in which they were just sort of going over some of the key plays in the game. And we asked Jason Kelce about this, and he said in his mind, it's really important to do that stuff when it's fresh, because like even 24 hours later, you'll forget some of the things that you were feeling in the moment. And my guess is that had to do with that last full offensive possession, the second down play, the 2nd and 8 and 13 personnel, when it looked like maybe they called a screen and it was not blocked up correctly. And then the 3rd down play, which Jalen Hurts tried to get a little bit antsy. Even the 1st down play, Jason Kelce said he missed a block there that could have sprung that play to be more of like an 8 or 10 yard run instead of a 2-yard run. And so I think there were some execution mistakes across the board on offense and defense. And I think Jalen Hurts is responsible for that. But I also think the offensive line was certainly not perfect yesterday. Especially
I think that's what he said. The word he used was execution up front. And that referenced the offensive line, not without saying the offensive line, but he said there were some execution issues up front.
Yeah, and I had asked him specifically about that possession, and that's when he said that. So yeah, that's my understanding.
I knew it's something like that. See that, and that's to me, he's always one of those guys that keeps those sort of things to himself. But for him to say it out like that, kind of threw me for a loop. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not something he usually does.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, it's hard to get, like we talk about the all show, it's hard to gauge a lot because you hardly had the ball, right? But 1 touch for Miles Sanders in the first half. Why? What was going on there? What do you attribute that to? They started to give it to him more in that 1 drive, and his numbers actually were pretty decent. And their yards per carry wasn't terrible collectively, but what's going on there?
Yeah, I think I chalked that up to just they didn't have the ball very much in the first half. I mean, on that first possession after the turnover, when they go in and score a touchdown, Boston Scott was on the field. I'm not sure why that was, but it seemed like maybe they had him in on a red zone package to help set up some stuff. I don't know why it was that Miles Sanders didn't get the start yesterday. I think it was because of the turnover. They had something in, but I did think that Sanders ran well in the second half. And again, I thought the Eagles offensive line was moving the Commanders up front in the middle of the second half, but then just didn't get done at the end of the game.
Do you brought it up? Do you think that, and a couple of the players actually volunteered this, but was the 8-0 thing wearing on them, you think, collectively?
I'm sure that's probably like person by person.
Yeah.
And so if A.J. Brown says that he's like a little bit glad it's in the rearview. I believe him. I'll take him at his word. I think Jason Kelsey flipped it on the other way during the week. He's like, well, what do you want us to do? Try to lose? So obviously that's not what you want to do. I think it was probably for some guys on their mind, and maybe gets you away from the task at hand and the siloed focus of week by week. I can't speak for the coaching staff, but I'm sure that there are some guys who are maybe glad to get back to work.
But what do you take away from this game? In the final analysis, what do you take away from?
I think I take away that they've got to figure something out on defense. And I know that part of this is by design, right? Like, this is Jonathan Gannon's philosophy, that he wants to force the opposition to, maintain drives, convert in the red zone, prove that they can go a long time without making a mistake. But I think that there's a problem with the way that it matches up with the quality of the offense, because the theory behind that means that you are inviting long possessions, which means you are inviting fewer possessions in a game. And so if you think you're the better team, you want as many possessions as possible, because the larger sample size, you're gonna come out on top, right? Especially when you have an offense that can score a lot. And so, like, I'd like to see them be a little bit more aggressive. And Jonathan Gannon, the first 4 games of the season, was really breaking some tendencies from last year. He was blitzing more often on first and second down. He was sending big blitzes more. And it seems like since the Jordan Davis injury, I don't know if it's because, of the quality of opponent, but he's gotten back to some of the stuff that we saw last season that was a little bit too passive. And so I'd like to see them change something like that up front. I don't think, they don't have to sell out to stop the run on every down. They don't have to be a top 10 run defense. You just need them to sort of be mediocre and get into enough third and longs that they can get after the quarterback. Now, yesterday, there were some issues that were not just the run defense, like giving up a 26-yard completion to Terry McLaurin on 3rd and 9 or whatever it was. That's pretty bad. Like, that's the entire point of the defense, is to put yourself in those situations and not let that happen. And that happened a few times. So to me, all eyes are on the defense. And I know my beat partner, Zach Berman, likes to tell me that it's on the offense just as much too. And it is. In this game, the offense needs to execute better. But big picture, I'm more concerned about the defense, especially when you talk about getting into the playoffs against teams that are going to be even better.
How big a loss is Avonte Maddox? We saw them working out of the slot, having success last night. It didn't seem like a particularly good game for Slay, but how much of that is a trickle-down effect without Maddox? Yeah,
that's a good question, and I think I'll have to watch the tape to fully understand that. I thought that Josiah Scott played well live. He wasn't targeted too often, and Washington didn't really attack them in the slot that much. There was that big conversion to McLaurin on 3rd down when the Eagles were in dime, and McLaurin was matched up against C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and then you could hear him on the broadcast saying, "Don't put a safety on me," which is fair. Probably don't put a safety on Terry McLaurin.
That was Jimmy Butler-esque,
That's exactly right.
Some of the things he was yelling.
But I think, given who is on their schedule in the next 3 games with Avonte Maddox out, they should be fine next week. You probably move Slay inside against Michael Pittman Jr., who plays in the slot some. And then you talk about the Packers coming in, Ellen Lazard is not going to keep me up at night. And then Tennessee, who barely has a passing game. So I think they'll be able to get through that one too. But the longer this list goes of, I think they can get through without this guy, I think they can get through without this guy, the more likely it is that the whole puzzle starts to break down a little bit.
I heard Brandon Graham's comments after the game, and he owned it. We've talked about Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham both being senior elder statesmen on this team.
I thought you were going to say senior citizen.
No.
In football years.
Exactly. Is it safe to say, from what we've seen them perform, that their better days might be behind them?
I think I'm more willing to say that about Fletcher than I am about BG. Okay. Because Brandon Graham is a rotational, edge rusher, right? I think he's giving them about what they could expect for the way that they're using him. He's not the same player he was in 2018. That's true. I think his best days are behind him, but I don't think that he is, dragging them down in any capacity, especially given, what he's asked to do. I'm a little surprised at how few snaps Robert Quinn continues to play, given what they gave up for him. I thought that he would make a little bit more of an impact right away, but I understand that it's tough to get thrown in the middle of the season. With Fletcher Cox, you know, he is not the player that they're paying him to be. He has some spike games, right? But on a consistent week-to-week basis, he played 80% of the snaps yesterday, which is a ton of snaps. And I was really surprised that they didn't have Marvin Wilson active for this game after promoting him from the practice squad last week. Not that Marvin Wilson is going to like stop the Commanders, running game on his own, but an extra body on the defensive line to stop Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave from playing like 80% of the snaps, I think could have helped a little bit. And I think Fletcher Cox is good, but he's not Fletcher Cox at the moment.
Bo, special teams. I don't even know where to start. It feels like we talk about this every single week, but they're getting very little in return game. There's now, you had the penalty last night on the roughing the punter. The Sippos play late, which I don't know. It seemed like some kind of breakdown. First of all, was your sense that they couldn't have been faking a punt there, right? I mean, that was just a protection breakdown, and Sippos actually makes a nice play.
A hell of a play.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked. I have to watch it again, but it looked like Kayvon Wallace let a guy in free, and Sippos made an unbelievable heads-up play.
Props to him. It was a hell of a play. But generally, special teams has been an issue. Is there any? Is it Howie not providing personnel enough in that area? Is it Michael Clay? Is it they just don't have the? What is it?
Yeah, I've been maybe it's the contrarian in me, but I've been of the opinion that the special teams stuff is a little bit overblown because like what you said about Howie, like this is the way that the team is built. Like if you look at the way the resources are allocated, I think they made a conscious decision to borrow from special teams in order to address other areas. That said, I mean, this continues to happen every week. And I think it is starting to become a little bit of a concern. Like the fake punts conversions by opponents on 4th and 3, those don't bother me because if you're going to do it, you pick up 3 yards. Like what can we really do to stop you, especially if you want us to, emphasize the return game. And they didn't go out and get a dynamic returner. They signed Britton Covey, who was like a 25-year-old undrafted rookie who doesn't really have a ton of juice. His job is to go out there and play it safe, and that's fine. If you look around the league, there are not a ton of explosive returners in the league. That has sort of gone like the way of the dodo, I guess. I don't think I've ever used that phrase before.
That was nice.
That's how tired I am. I'm pulling out a phrase like that.
An extinct animal. Yeah.
But the roughing the passer or the roughing the punter is a bad play. The Sippos play could have been an unbelievable disaster. If they get that punt block, that's game over. And we'd all be talking. That's all we'd be talking about. So yeah, they got to get it cleaned up, and I'm sure that is like something that they are very worried about right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern.
I don't like how this team at this point feels as though we can just come back at any time and get right, man. And is that something we got to look forward to going into the future? That they've said all the right things, but they still haven't fixed the thing that they really need the most work on, and that's tackling and run defense. I mean, when do you think they're going to turn this around, or they just don't have enough to turn it around?
I think that in terms of like their play personality, the thing that gives me hope is the quarterback and the way that he carries himself and the way that the team seems to follow his lead. I mean, he's not going out there and playing middle linebacker and sticking his nose in against the run and stuffing things up. But I think that Jalen Hurts' force of personality is enough to make this team, not get too ahead of themselves and start smelling themselves too much. In terms of the run defense, though, they gotta prove it at this point, right? Like we can't take it on faith. We gotta see them actually do it. And against Jonathan Taylor and Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon and Derrick Henry, who are all coming up, this is going to be a chance for them to prove themselves.
Bo, listen, man, always appreciate it. Check you out on Twitter at Bo_Wolf, and of course at theathletic.com covering the Philadelphia Eagles. Bo, we appreciate a couple minutes.
Great job, bro.
Thanks
appreciate
for doing it on a short night's sleep. We do appreciate
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, look, interesting stuff there from Bo, man, and he's a guy who's there every day, right, and in lockstep with what's happening with this team. So it's going to be interesting to see the adjustments that they make if they try to go outside, maybe bring in some personnel, somebody who's on the street, maybe to help with the run defense, what they do with special teams. It feels like, this is kind of what it is. Fix it, figure it out internally, and get better. And that's the way you do it. And we look, it's no secret what Indianapolis is going to do next week. Or this week, I should say. They're gonna try
right.
Whatever day it is, Tuesday. This Sunday. And by the way, Sunday 1:00 game. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then another night game after that.
Gunner, can I at least live in the moment for 2 seconds?
No.
Do they have? I mean,
Pull the carpet right out from me, man.
Yeah. Isn't there a certain number of games that you can only play night games?
Hey, by the way,
knows?
Get ready for about 3 games, being flexed also.
Oh, don't say that, dude. Please don't say that.
At New York, December 11th.
Geez. Yes, I know. I've been trying not to think about that.
That the January 1st game against New Orleans could be flexed out. At least those 2. I hope I'm wrong. We already got a Christmas Eve.
But I thought there's only a certain number of night games you could play.
The league makes up its own rules.
I don't know. Well, those 1:00 could turn into 4:00 too. Keep that in mind. Hey, look, you rained on my parade. I was enjoying 1 week of a 4:00, okay, and you took it away from me already. Oh my God!
You can't rain on my parade, Rob.
Okay.
Every day, even a cloudy day, is sunny in D-Gun world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we'll come back. We'll do some NFL, guys. It's certainly not done with the Eagles by a long stretch, but there's a lot going on in the NFL, which we'll update you on and talk about other teams dealing with some serious injuries as well. Some interesting stuff from Mark Davis, the Raiders owner with the best haircut in football, and all kinds of stuff that we will do.
Got a chia pet on top of his head.
Oh, that's a rough look, man. That is a rough look. All right, so we'll come back. We will dig into that as well. So don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about Razor technology. Yes, with threat vectors evolving, it's never been more important to monitor all changes in your work environment and set up automated alerts for when something violates an existing policy. You get visibility into the pivotal changes happening to your systems and networks with IT support from Razor Technology. Change management. It's an end-to-end solution for tracking changes across all the systems and networks your business administers so that it has transparency into who is making those changes with enough time to respond and take corrective action if necessary. An unauthorized user, device, or application doesn't need very long to cause serious financial and reputational damage to an organization by altering, damaging, and stealing sensitive data. That's why Razor Technology uses real-time change detection to catch malicious actors in minutes, not days or weeks. Contact Razor Technology today to learn how their managed IT services can protect and enhance your business. Give them a call, 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com, razor-tech.com.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers, Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands, more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
Back on this Tuesday that kind of feels like a Monday, but it's not. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, Rob hanging out with you. All right, some NFL stuff, guys. Eagles not the only one dealing with injuries. If you're just tuning into us, Dallas Goedert has a shoulder injury and will be out for some time. Don't know exact timelines right now, but it happened on that play in which he fumbled where he got face masked and it wasn't called. So it's the ultimate insult to injury situation. All right, so a couple other odds and ends here. Zach Ertz, former Eagles tight end, is done for the season with a knee injury in Arizona. That's a shame. Obviously, for Zach, who's a really good human being, you hate to see anybody get injured, but especially guys like that. So he is done for the year for Arizona. That's a blow to them, man. One of the better offensive players, for sure.
Yeah, for a team that's struggling the way they are, they can't afford to lose any more personnel, and he is a huge loss. One of the, best sure-handed and smartest tight ends in the game. And, when it rains, it pours. And, it's been raining on Arizona all season. And, we see this week in and week out, so many teams have lost prominent players, and now Arizona's getting bit by this. That's really going to hurt. It's bad enough Kyler Murray has been inconsistent in the passing department as it is. And to lose your safety valve, that's a big blow to that team.
Yeah, big one. And this, speaking of big blows here, Cooper Kupp will have ankle surgery. He's going to get that tightrope procedure. And the typical recovery time is 5 to 6 weeks. He's, on the IR. We know what he brings to the table. The problem is LA is just, man, they are in massive trouble at this point. So you lose him for 5 to 6 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood, and who knows? But they're 3-6. They're in last place in the NFC West. They were cooked before this, but they're especially cooked now.
Yeah, and you got Matthew Stafford still in concussion protocol. If that's not bad enough, he missed the last game, and he's still in concussion protocol. I mean, obviously,
I don't think he wants to come out of concussion protocol.
I would take my
point?
good old time. Hold on, I don't feel great.
Right. Now his major weapon's not going to be there. They just now starting to run the ball back with Akers. I wouldn't want to come back.
No.
Offensive line sucks. Defense,
you're coming back for a beating.
Yeah,
you know that.
Defensive backs are pointing the fingers at the offensive side of the ball. You wouldn't want all of that. Now I want none of that mix. Yeah. None of that. So
I hear you. I hear you. So a couple of the things, Derek, you mentioned it earlier, but Amari Rodgers, who fumbled against the Cowboys, his 5th of the season, by the way, cut, gone, returner, receiver. Good. He is no longer a Green Bay Packer, and he's out there for people to grab up.
He's got the speed. He just doesn't have the football acumen. I don't know if he has grease on his hands or what, but he made a costly mistake in that Dallas game that could have been huge for them. And Green Bay, is still hanging in there, but I think they're like the 9th seed right now. They got a long ways to go, but I always thought he could emerge as a decent pass catching target, but he never really got a chance in Green Bay, and especially this year when you consider their dire search of pass catchers. That basically tells you what they thought of him. And you know, his only use of that team was return game, and he flubbed that. So it'll be interesting to see who they put back there now instead of him.
So the way just to follow up on your point, Derek, they are 9, Green Bay. So
yeah,
Eagles are 1 at 8-1. Vikings are 2. Eagles have the head-to-head. Seattle is right now your 3 spot at 6-4. That's crazy,
wow.
right? 6-4 is your 3 seed.
Wow.
But they are in first in the West. Tampa Bay 5-5 because they're in first in the South.
Yep.
Giants are 7-2. They'd be the 5 seed. The Cowboys would be the 6 seed at 6-3. Niners would be the 7 seed at 5-4. And then, you know, Commanders at 5-5, Green Bay 4-6, along with Atlanta and the Cardinals. They're all 4-6. So that's the way it looks right now from a standing standpoint. I mean, look, we all know that it's been a parity-filled first half of the season, right? That's for sure. This is where you start to see the good teams make their move. If they're healthy. If they're healthy, make their move, right?
This getting into the first this is actually the third quarter of a season that, you know, that we're entering into right now.
Yeah.
The third quarter is where teams start to really start getting adjusted to getting into playoff kind of football. You start running the ball a little more, playing better defense. You go into the well with plays that you're trying to get that will, you know, springboard you into being competitive going into this, you know, the fourth quarter of the season.
Well, you look at how much parity there is across the league in the NFL, and it's amazing. You know, teams that are 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place seed-wise now, in a span of a couple of weeks, could jump up to 7, 6, 5. Prime example, look at Buffalo. They were the 1 seed. 1 loss has dropped them to a 6 seed all of a sudden.
Isn't that crazy?
It's 1 game. It makes that big of a turn from where they were. They go from 1 to 6 by losing an overtime game. They should have won in regulation against Minnesota. So you know what? Week to week, we're going to see all these teams jockeying for positions. I don't think Washington is in any way, shape, or form is about to run the table after this monumental win. They're still Washington. They still have flaws like everybody else. Seattle's come back to earth a little bit now. We're going to see where they are, although they do control that division out there, but watch out for the 49ers.
No.
You know, the Giants, I'm still, they're 7-2, but I'm still not sold on Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll has done a phenomenal job minimizing his mistakes. He only has, 2 interceptions?
Well, that's the thing. He's really taking care of the football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The running game, the defense, and Daniel Jones being a better manager of games has translated into a 7-win season for this team. Dallas is what it is. Dallas is going to make the playoffs, but I think Dallas is going to be a quick out because Mike McCarthy keeps coaching that team. Mike McCarthy cost Dallas that game in Green Bay. He goes for it fourth down instead of taking a field goal, and, of course, it came back to bite him. You know, that's Mike McCarthy for you, plain and simple.
Now, I'm with you. In big games, you just wonder with that guy. All right, so the AFC standings, Kansas City 7-2 is your 1 seed. Miami's your 2 seed at 7-3. The Titans are leading their division, the AFC South. They're 6-3. They're the 3 seed. Baltimore's the 4 seed. Also at 6-3. Jets are the 5 seed at 6-3 in the East. Then the Bills, as Derek mentioned, they're the 6 seed at 6-3. You have the Patriots at 5-4. You have the Chargers at 5-4. You have the Bengals at 5-4. So there's a real bunching right there with the 5 and 4s. The Colts, who the Eagles play next week, are 4-5, and then you start, dropping off into the abyss at that point. But that's where the AFC is. And again,
there's still not a time that people have to turn things around, though.
Yeah,
tons of time.
And
8 games, Barrett.
Exactly. We're just now at the halfway point, and I'm feeling like I'm just so daggone depressed right now, man. I can't get myself out of this funk, man. I can't. I'm trying to really get myself out of this funk, man.
They haven't lost a game, Barrett, since January.
Right.
Think about it. They haven't lost a game since the beginning of the new year, and we're in November. So it's been a long time, right? So it does take a little bit of an adjustment. It was, and you just felt like if they had just gotten beaten, by a team that was better than them or out executed. I don't know. I mean, they deserved the loss. Don't get me wrong, but it was a frustrating kind of game. That's for sure.
And you know, another thing that really pissed me off is Taylor Heineke, the way he was acting at the end of the game, and saying throwing the first down
after the Graham roughing, he got up.
Yeah, man, that really pissed me off. If I was BG, since I was gonna get out, I'd have really went in.
Got your money's worth.
I'd have tried to break his skull, man. Break his
but if that had been Jalen Hurts, you would have been applauding him for doing it. I mean, give Heineke the smarts enough to know. So does Brandon hit him. He knew exactly what happened. Simultaneously, as that ref reached for his flag, he knew exactly what had happened.
I know, man. I'm still pissed off at him. I
don't
like him.
Barrett, let it go.
I don't like him.
5 days from now, we could have a win over the Colts. Let it go.
I'm trying, bro. I'm really trying.
Let it go. Let it go, Barrett.
It's not working.
Soak in the D-gun aura.
I want to whoop somebody, dog. I want to beat somebody up, bro. Still.
That's not very Christian like Barrett.
I know, man, but there were warrior Christians in the Bible, man.
Warrior Christians.
Peter cut somebody's ear off, man. They wasn't no joke, man. So I'm being a warrior, right? I want to go cut somebody's ear off. Yeah.
You want to go cut somebody's ear off? Oh my goodness! I gotta call Trish.
Man, losses do a lot to people, They
my
change
goodness.
it. All right, so a couple things. The Saints are mulling around changing their quarterback. I guess going back to Jameis Winston at this point. I don't know what much of the point. They're
why
they just look cooked.
I like the fact that they're going to do it. That means they're going to lose even more.
Yeah, it's good for the Eagles. Yeah, it is. It's good for the Eagles. I got to look at that. I think it was 6, right? Is that where they that pick would be? I think it's
right number 4.
Right now it's 4.
No, I'm sorry, it's 4. Yeah,
it's number 4.
Yeah, so they're 3-7. The Bears are 3-7. Vegas is 2-7, and Tennessee's 1-7-1.
Oh,
I mean, in New Orleans,
who's 1-7-1?
Texas, Houston.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, New Orleans keeps faltering, man. That could be a top 3 pick. It's not out of the question, or top 2.
Can you believe that how it's finagled his way into a top 5 pick?
It is amazing.
Now, what direction do you think they go with this pick?
Defensive tackle to pair up with Jordan Davis, edge rusher, edge.
That high? I'd go edge rusher.
You're old on the edge. Yeah, you're older on the edge. But Barnett's gone. BG's probably gone.
What's Williams from Alabama? Is that his name?
Well, there's Anderson. There's a lot of good.
Anderson is his name. Anderson.
Yeah, he's probably the best player in football, in college football.
I'd draft 2 young edge rushers right out the gate.
Yeah.
Of course, and again, they're not going to do it high, but with that second round pick, I might be looking at a running back if they decide to let Miles go.
Well, I'd be looking for a safety, wouldn't you?
And a safety, yeah.
Because we're not going to be able to keep
Gardner Johnson.
He's
going to get a ton.
He's going to get a ton of money, man. He's already guaranteed him to be one of the top paid safeties this year. There's going to be Brinks trucks backing up from everywhere for him.
And he's playing out of position, and he's leading the NFL in interceptions. Go figure.
That might be his position, though.
Yeah.
Now that he's learning it, and so.
Hey, Rob, you brought up Jim Irsay. You brought up the Colts. Did you see Jim Irsay's comments yesterday talking trash?
Did
you see that?
He's taking a victory lap. They won 1 game
over the Raiders,
and he's doing the "I told you so." And I'm like,
are you serious?
Man. Just lay low. I know he can't help him. Yeah, I saw.
Be humble, man. Be humble.
Jeez. Nothing humble about Irsay,
no, he's they're in trouble because he's in full blown meddling mode. Like he kind of stepped away for a little bit. He's all over that thing.
Right,
that's a mess.
But I wonder if Jeff Saturday took the job and told, hey, look, man, if I take this job, you got to stay out of my way. You got to let me try something here. I wonder if he did that. But
I think it's the opposite, Derek.
Then he comes out and pulls a Jerry Jones.
I think he wanted the gig so bad he would have taken it under any circumstances.
Yep.
Saturday.
I don't know, man. He's making good money in a nice warm studio. I mean, it's not like he was pressed for work.
He wasn't, but I mean, there's only so few of those jobs.
I know. I can't think of the last coach who's never had to pay his dues to become a head coach in the National Football League.
I can't remember in the NFL.
Look at the resumes of not just head coaches, but even position coaches and coordinators. They've made 10, 12 stops in their careers. From Bug Tussle, junior college on up, Grand Valley State, just to get a shot. He walks in off the street. He's a head coach in the National Football League now.
Yep.
Never seen that. But bottom line is he is 1-0 right now.
Yeah, he is. And guess who gets him this week?
Yep.
Philadelphia Eagles. So a couple other things here. The NFL is looking to expand. They've dipped into Germany. We know England. They're looking now at Spain and France are on the radar.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Is this just me being the typical American? I don't care. Like, I don't care that I don't want them to expand. I just play the games here.
Say it, man. Say it.
I don't care.
At this point, they're supposed to have 4 more teams.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to spend 8 weeks in the States, play all the games they're going to play in the state, and then 8 weeks in, back home.
I mean, you think players are going to like that?
How many American players are going to want to live in Spain or France for 6-7 months? And I'm talking about OTAs, training camp, and the regular season. That's like 6 months, 7 months of your time. You're out of the work. You would.
Yes.
I don't know.
Can you imagine how they're going to get paid there? How they're going to have everything laid out to them? They're going to have a place to stay. They're going to have a car. They're going to give them. They're going to have
just like basketball
lodging.
Players. Like
they're going to have everything. They'll have everything laid out to them. And then when they bring the money over, you know what I'm saying? It's the euro. So,
yeah, Barrett, but you're dragging your family overseas? How do you think your family would feel about that? Think about it. You can't get home in case of emergency. You can't get home right away to St. Louis.
I'll go pick my check up and I'm gone.
Okay, but your family, it's not just about you. If your family stays here, you're overseas for 6 or 7 months. Stuff happens here at home. Kids get injured, school plays, all this stuff. See, when you're here, it's time consuming enough, but at least you're here physically so you can slip off in the evening to see little Johnny and Susie's play or game somewhere. You can't do that over there. You can't. You have no family ties over there. And we're not talking about, okay, from here to London, it's like because I made that trip to London, it's like 5.5 hour flight.
Yep.
When you start talking Germany, Spain, France, you know how long those flights are? And especially, God forbid we have another COVID outbreak where you're quarantined in a country you can't come out of now. And their quarantine restrictions are a lot worse than ours in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about that. Now, I don't know what the NFL is thinking here. We live in a completely different day and age from when we grew up. I mean, there's things that exist now we never knew existed back then. Embarrassed, like, okay.
Look. I'm like this. I'm thinking to myself like this. Sanjay be like, just make sure you cash that check and send the money over. You still,
no.
All those fields I want barbecue. I'll go to D Gun's house and eat.
Yeah, we'll visit you once a year.
See, Sanjay got open invitation.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? That goes. I'm glad you said that, Barrett, because that goes so far. A wife is understanding to a certain point, but at some point he gets to the point. Look, I got to be the father and the mother. I got to
come get these knuckleheads.
Come get these knuckleheads. This kid's talking back to me. You need to be here. You need to be a father in the house. Oh, that's coming up at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's going to happen.
Correct.
You're going to talk about, hey, I'm living free. I'm cashing checks. I ain't got to worry about nothing. Meanwhile, pick up the phone. Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. Yes. I get it. What do you want me to do?
I'm going to F1 racing. I'm going to watch soccer games in the big stadium.
You're in some villa somewhere.
No,
sipping
you're
wine.
Sandro Pay.
Exactly.
Dad's deal. D-Gun seriously reminds me of my mother. Worry. No, it's called reality, Daz. Not worry. It's a reality. You want to be forced to live in another country? I mean, on one hand, you're getting to play the sport that you dreamed of playing at the highest level. On the other hand, you got to do it 18 hours away flight time. No. Who wants to do that?
That's tough, man. That's tough. All right, so a couple other things here. Mark Davis is backing Josh McDaniels. Rome wasn't built in a day. He's giving you every cliche in the book. People want instant gratification in this world. Like, he's not wrong with some of this. And I get it. If you're going to hire the guy, you stick with him, I guess. But there's also something to be said for cutting your ties and realizing it's not going to work with a certain individual. I don't know. It's gone so far south with Vegas that I'd be really concerned about bringing him back for another year. I really would.
When you look at his track record at his previous stop in Denver, hey, Josh, You see, I noticed that you're starting to go the same way that things happen in Denver. Now, we gave you all this talent. We gave you one of the premier wide receivers in the game. Now, obviously, we can't do anything about injuries. You know, Hunter's down, Darren Waller's down. You can't, but you still have enough talent on this team to be at least a 500 team. Yeah. Now, is it you or is it the players? Because after this season, we got to make some business decisions here.
Hey, look, it's fair.
That's the way I approach it.
Well, the other thing that you keep saying, like, there's certain trends here in the league. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting, it feels like every single week, for Russell Wilson to get back to looking like Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And their offense to start doing something rather than being the worst offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
But at some point you realize it ain't happening, man. Like, this is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Yeah.
You know, and you saw it again this week. They just kept waiting for the Raiders to turn it around. That's not happening. Denver's offense turn around. That's not happening. For the Chargers, and I know they're really banged up, legitimately banged up. But for the Chargers to ever get on some kind of run, and they never do. You know, and these are the things. I know there's 8 games left, whatever, 9 games left, and 7 games left in some cases. But I just don't see it. Like, I don't see that happening. You've seen a little bit of movement in the NFC, and that the Bears have shown you some life, even though they've lost 3 in a row. They're at least entertaining with Justin Fields. Are not good. But New Orleans would fall into the category. Are they ever going to get it going? Are the Cardinals or the Rams ever going to get it going? And kind of at some point you realize this is what it is with some of these teams.
You know, you're just lucky we're not covering one of those teams.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best thing about it. We're not covering, you know, because Barrett would be miserable every other week. And we don't want that. We want to see happy Barrett.
Bro, we went through that. We had some slim pickings 2
years
years ago. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. You're right.
You know, I'm just used to the gold standard of us competing every single year in and year out. You know, I mean, these new wave fans you have for the Bills, you know, the Bills Mafia and all them, they've only had, you know, been able to have their fun in the sun for the past 2.5 years, you know, so they're enjoying it. You know, even the Rams, you know, last year before, and then you got to look back to, you know, back in the days where the greatest show on turf when they were still in St. Louis. But there's a lot of teams that, you know, I mean, even the Jets and the Dolphins just have some, you know, new experiences there of winning. You know, they hadn't had those winning type of teams in so long. They become so few and far between that they're like, they've been dominated by the Patriots for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just now starting to get a little bit of this taste of winning and you know, success of winning. For the most part, the Eagles as a whole have been very successful over the last 20, 25 years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, they have their down year, they flip it really fast.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they flipped it really fast at the end of Andy. They flipped it really fast at the end of Chip, and they flipped it really fast at the end of Doug.
Yep.
They got it right back on track.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did.
The gold standard started in 1995
when they drafted some guy in the second round out of Kansas State.
Yeah,
really.
So things turned around.
I don't wish any ill will on anybody. You see this Colts linebacker Shaquille Leonard, back surgery, done for the year.
No, I didn't see that.
Is he out for the year?
That's
done for the year, according to around the NFL. Yeah.
Yep. He's got that new contract too.
Done for the year, dude. And he's a big loss to that defense.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. You know, he was balling last year, man. He hadn't played any of this. He played one game and then got hurt again.
No.
And hasn't played since then.
No. And just to mention, you know, you're talking about possible expansion in NFL. Overall, it's already a bad product. It's a mediocre product. If you really want to be honest about it, there's been a lot of bad football played already.
Yep, you're right.
The talent pool is thin enough.
Yeah.
You're going to add 4 more teams to make it even worse?
Yeah, I mean, any discussion of expansion is just remarkable in a bad way.
But the NFL will do it because they are a cash cow.
Whew.
If they're talking about it, they've already hired the best research firms to go over there and find out why those places would be the best possible places to put teams. And from a fan standpoint, now over there, over here, we're saying, okay, man, you're going to make the product even worse than it is. They're thinking over there, there's 4 major entities where we're gonna quadruple our money by those to Germany, Spain, France, London. We're gonna quadruple our money. That's all they care about is making the money.
Right?
Yep.
They don't care about the product.
No, they don't care.
No.
As if they're not making enough already. Yeah.
You don't have 32 starting quarterbacks in the National Football League.
That's
the
biggest
4 more.
problem. That's the big. Like, there's a lot of issues with depth, but it's yeah. You don't. There's not even.
Goodness.
I think if you just run through the league, and I'll go AFC to NFC.
Yeah.
Dolphins have a quarterback. It looks like for sure too.
Mm-hmm.
Jets, I think the jury's out, but we'll see.
Maybe
with Wilson.
Yeah.
Buffalo, yes. New England, I don't know.
Maybe.
Baltimore, yes. Bengals, yes. Cleveland, I don't know what that's going to look like.
Does it start next week?
The 13th, he can play.
He can start practicing
He's
this
practicing
week, right?
this week.
Yeah.
The Steelers, that's up in the air.
Yeah.
Titans, up in the air. Willis might be the guy, but Colts, no. Jacksonville, I don't know. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been good. Texans, no. Chiefs, yes. Chargers, yes. Broncos, a guy on the back end. Raiders, meh. Eagles, yes. Giants, probably not. Cowboys, yes. Commanders, no. Minnesota, yes. Green Bay, yes, but old. Detroit, no. Chicago, yes. Tampa, very old. Atlanta, no. Carolina, no. New Orleans, no. Seattle, maybe if this keeps up. I don't know. San Fran is kind of fluid. Cardinals, I guess they just paid the guy, but and then the Rams have Stafford. Like, my point is that's probably about half the teams, right, that don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Look at how many no's and maybes you just said. Okay.
Right.
So you're going to add 4 more franchises, and on top of that, you're going to have at least 2 more backups, 1 active, 1 on your practice squad. Yeah. So that's another 12 quarterbacks who should not be in the National Football League. They're going to have jobs, making good money.
Showtime said the London Teabags.
that would start if that was
How about the Paris croissants? Croissants.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's it'd be interesting to see if they end up doing that, because obviously, the league is not set up to take on more water. You know what I mean? No. If anything, they should be contracting instead of expanding. If anything,
it will sell over there, and we will watch, because that's what we have to do.
Look at the way the Germans responded. Yeah, I know it was only 1 game, but still.
Yep.
They love it.
You know why? Because it's a novelty. Yep. How will they respond? See, all those countries that you're talking about now are diehard soccer fans, because that has been their premier sports. Can you have that same kind of fan base for football? Now, maybe the first year, because it'll be such a novelty and everybody's going to want to say, I at least went to 1 game to see what American football is like. But can it sustain itself if you have losing entities? Because as we know, anytime you start a new franchise, it takes 3 to 4 years to build a decent roster.
Right. It does. Can
they sustain it?
I mean, you look at hockey when they started the
Munich bunkers.
The Raiders, when they started the team in Vegas. They instantly came out and were good, and they drafted from other teams, and didn't they go to the Stanley Cup the first year?
Yeah, they did. They lost, but they went. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
You look at when they first brought in back in 1995, they brought in the Panthers and the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars competitive right off the top.
They were
right off the top. They were competing in the AFC. I don't know, man. Going over there, they love the sports, man. Like, I look at what's going on over there, like Qatar and stuff. They just bullied the PGA.
I don't want to go over there.
They bullied them.
I know they did, but I'm not going over there. Wait, my options is to play football or to go over there. Let me go back to college and get my degree, because I ain't going over there. I'm not happening.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm going.
So you want to be single, home and away?
No, she got to come, man. She come, man.
Your wife will go visit. She's not staying over there, Barrett. You need to get that out of your mind. Sanji is not staying in a foreign country. Get that out of your mind.
It depends on what country.
No, it's not. No, she's not. Barrett, y'all stop lying. Come on, Barrett.
Sandro Pay, she
Rob,
just
would your wife be willing to live in a
Qatar, she'll be just fine.
Rob,
no,
Rob,
she would not. Hell no.
Okay, thank you.
My wife, if we played like in the Bahamas, if they played in like Jamaica or Bermuda, then I'd have a shot. That's the only chance. If we were by a beach, then I'd have a chance.
That's what says Sandro Pay, you know.
Germany,
my
yeah,
wife go to
Sandro Pay, yeah, Germany.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rob. My wife wouldn't complain about going to the Bahamas.
No.
No,
right.
Because that's a hop, skip, and a jump back to the States.
Oh, easy flight too. Yeah, exactly.
You're talking about Spain, Paris. No, that ain't happening, man.
Well, Dan Cilio makes a great point. They want the 9 a.m. game, 100%. That's 100% what it is. Yeah,
they want the money
because it's working.
Oh yeah,
the 9 a.m. game is working because we diehards. We sit there. We gonna watch every single play.
Well, I just wonder too. Like last week, Seattle. That game was a 6:30 kickoff in Seattle. That's rough. That's rough for fans, man. I mean, you get your whole day in front of you. But that's early. That is early for an NFL game. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll roll into the final segment of the show. We'll get it back to the Eagles. We'll also do it. I have it on this date for you guys. I have a boatload of birthdays and movies as well. So we got a lot to do in that final segment. Don't move. Barrett, Derek, Rob. We are Sports Take. Right back.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
At Salus University, our graduates are among the most highly trained in their profession because of our unique emphasis on research, interprofessional collaboration, and early clinical exposure. Learn more about our programs at salus.edu.
Back with you all this Tuesday. Matter, Derek?
Nothing. Oh, you know how we're all creatures of habit. We all have routines we like to go through and stuff. So,
yeah.
When I go travel back and forth to Ocean City Casino, I have a routine, especially when it's a late night game. Next morning, I get up by a certain time and get ready so I can get out the door so I can get back to do the show. So I go through my routine today. I get up on time. I get out at the appropriate time. I'll go down like I normally do. You know, sometimes you do things so often, it's like you don't pay attention because you just instinctively know where to go.
Yeah.
So I go out to the parking garage and I'm walking around and I'm looking, enclosed parking garage. I don't see my car. And I'm thinking, okay, let me hit my remote. I hit the remote. I don't hear the horn, beeping. I'm walking around my luggage, my garment bag, and people are looking at me. I mean, this goes on for like 5 or 6 minutes. I'm like, I know where I parked my car. Somebody stole my car, and I'm walking around and I'm looking. I'm like, what the heck? And then I noticed the far entrance. I said, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong level. I go down to the next level where I normally park. Sure enough, my car's sitting right there. It took me 5 or 6 minutes to realize that.
Don't feel bad, man. I'm the same way. Like I am, even if I go to like grocery shopping, I am such a like space cadet in my own world. Like I will completely, I'm like, where did I park? And I'm hitting the thing, nothing. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm walking on. I do it all the time. I actually, if I'm at a place I'm not familiar with, I'll put it in my phone in my notes. I'm on.
I do too. I do all the time.
Yep.
See, I don't do that. I'm pretty good in parking lots because I always look up and I'll see what number I'm closest to. Like have the tall poles. And all
but
that
I'll
stuff.
forget it.
I'll do that. But so I get in my car, go down to go out the exit, and there's like 5 or 6 different slots you can go through. 2 of them have booths, and I have to go through one of the booths because we get we get a parking voucher, so we don't have to pay for parking. Right. Whether it's a day game or night game, there's always only one booth that's open. The other ones you just go through, put your money in, a credit card in, and you pay. But I have to go to the one so I don't have to pay.
Yeah.
So there's 2 cars in front of me. Well, the car that's in front of the car in front of me, I noticed that the person's arm is flailing and stuff like that. Swiping the card is not working. And all of a sudden I see it engaged in a very heated discussion with the person in the booth. I'm thinking, please let this be short. I got to go. I got to get out of here, right?
Yeah.
The car in front of me, a big SUV in front of me, a flatbed truck, is blowing a horn. And I'm thinking, dude, please stop because the person in front may get out of the car and you two may be swinging and I'm stuck. I can't get out of here, right?
So swinging or worse.
Oh, gee, yeah, I don't even want to think about that.
They're just swinging. Yeah, I got you.
But the conversation between these 2 people goes on for a good 5-6 minutes. And so eventually the person takes the man in the car and kind of wings it at the person in the booth. Oh, yeah, because I guess they're showing this voucher like, I should get free parking, yada, yada, yada. My car's not working. Slings the money in there. Person slings the change back across. Then the next person goes in the front who's blaring the horn. And I noticed the hand's not coming out of the car, either to swipe in the machine there or to hand money. And I see him doing like this, looking around like, so you're chastising somebody for holding the line up, and you're not even ready to take care of your business.
Wow.
It took me over 10 minutes just to go 20 feet.
Damn.
You get out of there.
That's a tough start to the morning, man, after quick turnaround, too.
But then the best part of the day is I get to spend it with you 2 lovely people.
See, you're welcome. You're welcome, Derek, just for our presence.
All right, so like, come on, man, something's up here.
I'll hit you guys with this one, right? So the world's population has now gone over 8 billion.
Wow.
With a B.
Woo!
It was like 7 billion like 5 years ago.
We're over 8 now, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know where I'm blaming it.
You know what?
I know where countries I'm blaming it on, but I ain't saying.
Oh, jeez. You can have that one.
I ain't saying.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people in this little world that we exist in. Over 8 billion. On this date, 1986.
1986.
Music related. Let's see if you guys can guess what happened. It was the debut of an album. On this date,
Michael Jackson Thriller.
No, that was 82-ish, 83. Yeah.
Debut
Close, but no cigar. Good guess.
Okay.
Barrett, I'll give you a hint. Hip hop.
And what year is it?
86.
86.
Debut.
The My Adidas album.
Very close. Close.
Wow.
Right church, wrong pew. Licensed to Ill from the Beastie Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Beastie Boys. Wow.
I think I know what time it is. It's time to get ill.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So what do we have here?
Good call, man. Good call. Yes. So that was 86, man. That was I believe that was her debut. And they, the rest is history.
One lonely beastie I
Beastie. Yeah, so Beastie Boys. All right, let's do some birthdays. A lot of good ones today. Actually, a lot. Yeah. Shailene Woodley, is she still with Aaron Rodgers, or did that end too?
I don't know. That dude has a new date every month.
All right, so she's been in a lot of stuff, but she's 31 years old. Shailene Woodley. The Macho Man, Randy Savage. Yes,
oh yeah,
he was born on this day in 1952. Yeah. Get yourself a Slim Jim. So he was born in 52, passed away young, unfortunately, but born in 52. Beverly D'Angelo, who's been in a lot of stuff. She was the Clark Griswold's wife in The Vacations.
Oh, yeah.
She still looks good at 71.
Yep. 71 years old, Beverly D'Angelo. Ed Asner, who was Lou Grant, guy. He just passed away. He lived a very long life, did Ed Asner. Carl Anthony Towns, 27 years old today. Chad Kroeger, the lead singer for Barrett's favorite group, Nickelback.
Nickelback, baby.
48 years old today. Sam Waterston, who is, of course, of Law and Order fame, played D.A. Jack McCoy forever on that show. Yafet Kodo, who was an excellent actor in one of my favorite underrated TV shows, Homicide: Life on the Street.
Yeah,
he was excellent in that. Played Lieutenant Giardello, but he was if you haven't watched that show, I would go back and watch it. It was really well done. Old Dirty Bastard was born this day, 1971.
Yeah.
ODB passed away. You'll like this one. Judge Wapner was born on this day in 1919.
What? George Wap? Okay.
Yep, Judge Wapner. Wow. You ever see Rain Man? Gotta go and watch Wapner. Yeah, that was his big thing. Eat his cheese balls and watch Wapner. So that was it for birthdays. I got some good movies, but you guys got any birthdays?
E40 the rapper.
E40 the rapper. Yep.
And you got B.O.B. the rapper.
B.O.B. who teamed with Bruno Mars on a couple tracks.
Sean Murray from NCIS.
Okay.
Yep. And let's see if you guys know this one. Do you know the name Yanette Garcia?
No.
Yanette Garcia.
Do you remember the girl in Mexico who blew up, who was as the meteorologist because of her looks?
You
remember this one?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now she lives in New York. Look at Rob.
Barrett,
you that one for last.
You will want to do some research on this.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Y-A-N-E-T Garcia.
Well, hold on.
Y-A-N-E-T Garcia.
Yeah. Yep.
Look at Rob's face. Shame on you, Robert.
Strong. Very strong.
Yeah, she was considered at one point the most famous meteorologist on the planet.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. And Duck is Barrett agrees. Duck,
you can tell me the sky's falling.
Duck is right, by the way. If you ever see Homicide: Life on the Street, the best episode, there's a man trapped under a train who knows he's dying, but you have to see the episode. I don't want to give too much away, but it's right on.
Okay.
What's Andre Braugher, who's an excellent actor, is ridiculously good in that series. Anyway, I'll stop with Homicide. All right, movies. Space Jam, 1996. One of the all-timers. Steel Magnolias, 1989. A classic in the Ellis house. If it's on, my wife is watching it with Julia Roberts and Sally Field. It's a chick flick extraordinaire. 2019. This is a really good movie. Ford versus Ferrari.
I loved it.
Oh,
great movie.
Awesome.
People kept talking about it in my house last summer. I'm like, what? My wife goes, you never seen this movie? I'm like, it doesn't hold my interest. But I sat down and watched the movie. I couldn't stop watching, dude.
I thought it was great.
Great movie.
It was an excellent movie.
Yeah,
and it was based on facts.
Based on a real story.
Wow.
Yeah. Really, really fascinating. I thought both guys did.
I thought Lee Iacocca was spot on too.
Yes.
You know?
Everybody was really good in it. I thought everybody in that movie. And
you guys didn't get Johnny Lee Miller in one of the best series ever. It's called Elementary.
I heard that. I heard that was good. I didn't see it.
Great, man. Great. He's like a Sherlock Holmes type of guy.
Yeah, I got to get that. I got to watch that. I've heard good things about that, Barrett.
Bar 30, look, Bar 316. Can we get back to Yannette, please?
Yeah, you opened up a Pandora's box there with that one.
Also, Winston Duke turned 35. He's from Wakanda.
Okay. Have you guys seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
Do you know over 4.9 million people worldwide saw that movie the opening weekend?
No kidding.
4.9.
So they either went or streamed it, either one?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
4.9 million.
Everybody's talking about it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either.
I'll wait till about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, it'll be cheaper on demand.
No, not that. The theaters won't be as crowded.
Just to go to the theater. Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Potter. I don't know which one it was, but the one that came out in 2002.
The Chamber of Secrets.
Okay. Was that the original or no?
No. And no. I know that my kids were big into watching it. I never watched any of the Harry Potter movies, but I know that's not the original.
Okay.
Well, you guys missed one more very important one, man.
Birthday.
Y'all missed Grady, man.
Grady.
What? Grady from Fred and Sanford?
Mayo. Yeah.
Mayo?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Grady was also in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, he was.
He had a cameo in that. Yeah,
he was.
He's yelling at the young kids. Yeah. Y'all did this to this neighborhood. And they're like, man.
Grady. Wow.
Grady. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grady. That was Fred's guy. He was Fred's best friend, man.
Yeah, it was.
Grady. Who's the other guy? There was another guy that was his buddy.
Rollo
was Lamont's buddy.
Yeah.
Rollo was slick, man. Rollo had it going on.
There was no better dialogue than Fred going against Aunt Esther.
Oh.
That was fun.
He used to go after Rollo pretty good too. Fred.
What's it? My name was Ed Day or something like. What was it?
Yeah.
Rollo.
He would. Oh man.
What about Aunt Esther's husband? He was always drunk. What was his name?
Woody. Wasn't it
Woody?
That's it.
That's it. Woody. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Woody was always hammered, drinking Ripple.
Always, yeah.
Ripple. Yeah. He was always into his Ripple, man.
Or as Fred said, he would combine Ripple and champagne and call it Champipple.
Yeah. Hey man, I remember back in the day, You used to take my boys used to take Thunderbird and put Kool-Aid packs in it.
Oh, don't
Thunderbird.
Yeah.
Bruh, how can you drink that stuff, man, and still be living the day, bro?
I did.
I tried Thunderbird one time. Thunderbird did me wrong one time, and that was it. I combined Thunderbird right after I was drinking milk with pizza, hot pizza out of an oven.
What? That didn't even sound right, bro.
Yeah, we had just won a game, football game, college, and we
milk,
were over
pizza and
yeah. Well, we had limited budget, so we had a fridge full of milk, and then we went to the grocery store and got some frozen pizzas, put them in the oven. We scarfing them down, and then somebody decided to bring some Thunderbird over, and I'm like, "What's Thunderbird?" I had to taste it, and
whoa.
I tasted a little bit too much. And
remember Cisco? Cisco said he's called liquid crack.
So one and only time why I ever touched Thunderbird, I'll never knew.
Yeah,
bro. The worst thing I ever did, man. I was on it was spring break. Spring break was the next day, and everybody was gone. Everybody left, and I'm sitting there with my frat brother. We're sitting there like, man, what are we gonna do, man? And somehow we go to the what's the VCR place? Blockbuster.
Oh, Blockbuster, yeah.
We go to Blockbuster, rent Faces of Death, and go get 4 bottles of Mad Dog 2020.
That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea,
bro. So no, we bought 6 bricks. We call them bricks. We bought 6 bricks, and all of a sudden these girls came by, and after the 6 bricks were gone, watching Faces of Death.
You kept that on with girls there?
Yes. And hold on, this is the funny part. We're watching it in my dorm room, and I wake up the next day, and I'm over my dad's house in St. Louis. In St. Louis.
So you went from Manhattan, Kansas to St. Louis?
Yes, and I didn't know how I got there.
Oh my God, man.
How far?
What is it? How many hours is that?
That's an 8-hour drive. An 8-hour drive. and it's three girls. It's me and my frat brother.
Oh.
And we're over in one of my pops said I woke up the next morning and I go raid his refrigerator and he gives me all the stuff, so I go cook over there. And he tells me, bro, I'm telling you right now, don't you ever do that again. I said, what? Boy, you showed up in my house last night at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
I sent you upstairs because he had a 4-family flat, you know what I'm saying? He lived over on one side, and on the other side he had 2 apartments on the other side. So the top apartment wasn't rented out. So he let us go upstairs. And I woke up and I'm in the apartment like, where the heck am I at?
Oh
he said,
God.
son, you ended up, you're in St. Louis now. I cannot believe you made it here. I said, I didn't drive, did I? No, you didn't drive. You didn't drive.
But even to this day, you don't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened. That's what I say. I've been blessed.
You're here to tell a story.
I've been blessed my entire life because there's no way I should be alive because I didn't know how I went 8 hours and I had faces of death in my pocket, in my coat pocket.
That's a really bad combination.
Oh my goodness.
Mad Dog 2020.
You had girls, man. You should just shut the face of death off.
Really, man. What is wrong with you, dude?
What's happening, man?
You ain't no game at all.
Spend time in their
What is wrong
place.
with you?
None whatsoever, bro.
Oh
all I know is I'm in St. Louis, bro. I'm in St. Louis.
That is no joke.
Yeah,
wow. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Barrett, you want to clarify what Tifa Tuna just threw up here about you try to run him over on the boat?
Oh man, it wasn't like that. But we'll put it like this: I was going for a no-hitter. I hadn't caught any fish, so
not the kind of no-hitter you want, right?
Yeah.
So pitching a no-hitter, yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I got to catch a fish somehow. So the first fish, boom, Steve. The guy, his boat is right next to my boat down at the dock, and then boom, my cousin gets a fish. So I can't be out there. I'm sitting like, man, I got to get a fish quick, fast, in a hurry. What's going on? So all of a sudden, I saw the pole go, boom, and I ran. When they didn't know I was that fast. I got up so fast, and I almost knocked them over. They were like, bro, you almost took my head off. No, I wasn't gonna hit you, man, but I had to make sure I got this fish, man. So it was my turn. I had to make it happen, and you just happened to be in the way. Kev told you just had to,
oh, man.
A couple guys were in the way, man, but it was fun, man.
Okay. Nobody's hurt. No one was hurt to make it.
Kill his boatmate to get to a fish.
Unbelievable.
And you wonder why I won't go fishing with you.
I almost killed 2 people.
And you wonder why I won't go fishing with you.
All right. So a couple other movies here. Cape Fear, the 1991. Oh, De Niro is
yeah.
One of his better roles.
Yep. Yep.
Really good in it. Nick Nolte's the father. Best Man Holiday of the Best Man movies.
Oh yeah.
Tay Diggs, that whole crew. Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh
yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Captain Jeff, appreciate you. We were on his boat up north.
Oh, this past weekend?
Yeah, up north. It was
nice.
It was a nice time, man.
Did you catch anything?
Yeah, we caught stripers, man. In fact, I came home and made me some striper nuggets. Unbelievable, man.
Striper nuggets.
But he's got heat in his boat. He got the thing like he got heat in it, man. I'm sitting up in there heat. I'm in there sleeping.
That's pretty nice.
Half the time, man. I was asleep, bro.
You gotta like that.
Oh, jeez.
But that's what happens, bro. That's what happens.
Did I miss any movies for you guys?
Let's see. You got Charlie Angels, the 3rd installment. I don't know why they made a 3rd installment, but after the first one, I was done.
Yeah.
So, but that came out 2019. So,
okay.
That was it.
All right, I nailed them all. All right, so we know what this is looking like here from an Eagles standpoint. We mentioned to you that it would be the Colts next week. So just a real quick give you what they have on deck, beyond that. Then it's Green Bay after that. That's the Sunday night game, as Derek sadly brought us back to reality on the night games. But you have the Colts.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome. You have Green Bay, and then it's Tennessee. Now, the Green Bay-Tennessee games are home. That game is in Indianapolis. Of course, the Colts, they went back to Matt Ryan, who was okay. They didn't ask him to do much. But it was really, they won in large part behind the running of Jonathan Taylor, which, you go into a concern because that's clearly what teams are trying to do against them.
Well, that's exactly what happens. You go to what you do best. You run the ball.
Yes.
And that's what they did. That's why they were able to win with Jeff Saturday being their head coach.
Yeah. No question.
I just got a text. You can't even see it. Dang it. This picture of Barrett sleeping in a corner of a boat. You can't even see it. You can hardly see it.
Yeah, we don't.
He's curled up in a corner of a boat.
It's heat in there, man. You can't put heat and then the waves rocking. You know, it's just a great, peaceful time. You know, it was great, man. Hot.
He got on his snowsuit.
I don't play anymore, bro. I make sure I'm geared down. I mean, I got the boots.
I can't do it.
I got the rain suit. I got all that, man. Because you never know. Because, like me, it doesn't matter if it's raining outside because the fish are already wet.
Oh my God, fish are already wet. Well, look, the beauty is you can always take off layers, right?
Exactly.
Stupid.
I'd rather be able to take off layers than to add something you can't add any, man. There's nothing like being cold.
When a cold rain hits you, it's like needles hitting you, man. It's man, I hate that feeling.
Well, I was trying to go out fish. We went out fishing. Last time I went fishing in the wintertime. I went out and we were going and catching blackfish, you know, which they say is a great taste. I've never caught one before. But it was the most miserable time I ever had fishing because it was 30 degrees outside. And I had on sneakers. And I had on jeans.
Oh, no.
And I had on a big jacket. And I was so cold that I was cold to my bones. Like my bones were even cold. That's how cold I was. That's the first and only time I ever went fishing and could not fish. I had to go back. I had to go inside and sit down, man. I was that cold. Man. And everybody laughed at me. Everybody laughed at me, bro. No, I couldn't do it.
All right. On that note, that's going to do it for us. So we're back at it.
Come on, man.
You can keep going. You absolutely can keep going.
I got daddy daycare, dude. I'm going to go pick up my grandson now from school.
I got you. All right. Well, we're back at it tomorrow. And again, we'll continue to look back and look forward here. We're into Wednesday, so we'll hit a bunch of different stuff with the NFL in terms of rankings, power rankings, and all that good stuff. And we'll dig into a lot of other things. It's a weird schedule for the Sixers. They're off till Friday. Not sure what's going on there.
Look at Bowl 316. Barrett is a 300-pound Gordon's fisherman.
Your yellow slicker. Put your yellow slickers on. Yeah. Oh my God.
Looks like he should have been on the deadliest catch.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. All right, stay tuned. You get the National Football Show with Dan Cilio. I want to thank Xander Krause, producer of the program. Thanks to everybody in the chat section, everybody streaming, everybody listening. We appreciate you. That is for sure. We're back at it tomorrow at the same time for Barrett. Yes.
I'm on at 3:30 with Sills. Yeah.
All right. So stay tuned for Barrett at 3:30 with Dan. Back full for the full 3 tomorrow. So for Barrett, for Derek, I'm Rob. Everybody, thanks for watching. Have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. We are Sports Take.
Don't wait until after Thanksgiving for leftovers. It's the new leftover sales event at Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Jeff must get rid of hundreds of new 2022 vehicles on the lot. Rams, Grand Cherokees, Wranglers. Jeff has them all for less. Jeff has reduced prices and payments to the lowest they've been all year. And Jeff knocks down high interest rates. Save thousands, more than anywhere else. Plus, get more for any trade or lease return. You always win at Jeff's. Great selection, best price. Hurry in now. Jeff D'Ambrosio Destination Downingtown. Nobody treats you better. Black Friday sales event.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.